Li Mei's Sword of Destiny. Chapter 617. Moon's voice caused the public square of the Divine Weapon Academy to fall silent. Many who recognized Moon all had strange expressions on their faces. A few days ago, Moon's behavior in the academy was already somewhat strange. And now she even said such arrogant words. Rong Yan and Shen Jing were both extremely famous in the Divine Weapon Academy. Both of them could forge top-tier 4th-ranked divine weapons, and their proficiency in weaponsmithing was extraordinary. This Moon actually issued a challenge to Shen Jing and Rong Yan. It seemed that it was for the sake of her friend. Rong Yan and Shen Jing both felt bewildered. Shen Jing's beautiful eyes flashed with coldness as she stared at Qin Wentian. "It's best if you don't leave." After speaking, her silhouette soared up into the air as her violet dress fluttered in the wind. Her figure was graceful and beautiful, and she also appeared at the top level of the pagoda. She then spoke to Moon. "You don't know what's good for you." After which, she turned to Wang Yunfei as she smiled and nodded. "Senior." Wang Yunfei nodded. This Shen Jing's proficiency in weaponsmithing was extraordinary, and her background wasn't bad as well. In addition to her beauty, Wang Yunfei did have a favorable impression of her. However, Moon was a girl he had never paid attention to before. Regardless of demeanor or beauty, she wasn't in any way inferior to Shen Jing. Especially at this moment, the competitive intent radiating from her, and the coldness in her clear eyes made her even more attractive. Arrogant. Rong Yan's countenance grew incredibly unsightly as he stared at Qin Wentian. If you lose, let alone humiliating him, he might not even be able to walk out of the Divine Weapon Academy alive today. After speaking, he also soared up into the air, descending to the last seat at the top level of the pagoda. The 4 seats at the top level were all occupied by the 4 of them. The others also ascended the pagoda, all of them prepared to put on a good performance. This battle would surely attract the attention of many elders in the academy. Scorching heat permeated the air, and the people on the top level all took out the forging materials they had prepared beforehand. After which, they began to forge their weapons in the special area of the pagoda. The flames emanating from the equipment refining pagoda are connected to all the refining positions. Furthermore, they can control the temperature of the flames. This is amazing. Qin Wentian's eyes were emotionless as he quietly watched the people on the refining pagoda start to refine their weapons. Rong Yan and Shen Jing were not polite to him, but in fact Qin Wentian did not care about them at all. They were just 2 passers-by. He did not care about them at all. As for Moon, she truly had a kind heart. Towards such a person, he wouldn't be stingy with helping them out. In any case, Moon herself was also extremely outstanding. Tomorrow would be the day of his arranged battle with Di Shi. Maybe after today, he would never be able to meet Moon again. Qin Wentian silently admired Moon's forging. Each and every movement, each and every step, although they weren't that breathtaking, they were extremely solid. In this aspect, even he, Qin Wentian, felt ashamed of his own inferiority. Although his divine inscriptions were powerful, in other aspects, he truly couldn't be compared to Moon. Although Moon's performance wasn't that breathtaking, Qin Wentian believed that as long as the weaponsmiths of the academy weren't blind, they would be able to tell that Moon was a talent worth nurturing. This year's examination was at the end of the year. The seniors of the Divine Weapon Academy were spectating, and there would be people specially recording their forging process. Nobody dared to be careless, as this would determine what resources they would be able to obtain in the coming year. Everyone put their all into forging their own divine weapons, with no time to care about anything else. Wang Yunfei's side attracted the most gazes. He was forging a divine robe that was extremely thin. This type of divine weapon was exceedingly difficult to forge. One had to inscribe powerful defensive divine inscriptions on it to weaken the attacks of others. Wang Yunfei actually chose to forge such a divine weapon under such circumstances. From this, one could see how confident he was. Many of the weaponsmiths in the spectator stands had smiles on their faces. However, Wang Yunfei already had a master, and they had no hope of accepting him as a disciple. Shen Jing was forging a divine ruler, Rong Yan was forging a long spear, and Moon seemed to be forging a pair of divine feathers. This little doll's guts isn't small. Some of the weaponsmiths in the spectator stand stared at Moon. Forging a pair of divine feathers was definitely an extremely daring attempt. One must know that there was a time limit for the year-end examination. The examinees had to complete the forging of their divine weapons within the specified time limit. It was impossible for them to have unlimited time. It's time to inscribe the divine inscriptions. As long as this segment isn't messed up, Moon will defeat Xinjing and Rongyan without any suspense. Qin Wentian laughed. The divine inscription Moon was preparing to inscribe was one of the divine inscriptions he taught her. It was a combination of offense and defense as well as speed. It was exceedingly complex, and once it was inscribed, it would completely surpass Xinjing and Rongyan. Moon's fingers were slightly longer, and her fair hands were extremely beautiful to look at. Not only that, her movements were extremely stable. She was completely focused on inscribing divine inscriptions, her heart as calm as still water. Right now, what she was thinking about wasn't how she would be valued by the elders, or how she would be able to obtain the best resources in the academy. Rather, she was thinking about defeating Xinjing and Rongyan, allowing Qin Wentian to gain respect. Time slowly flowed by, and as a beam of light flashed, Wang Yunfei was the first to complete the forging of his divine weapon, causing many to nod their heads in approval. After Wang Yunfei completed his forging, he turned his gaze onto Moon and Xinjing. Very swiftly, his gaze froze. The divine inscriptions Moon was inscribing were extraordinary, and the materials she used were all of the highest quality. Clearly, she was aiming to forge a peak-tier 4th-rank divine weapon. Wang Yunfei's countenance grew increasingly heavy. The beautiful eyes of Moon, who was clad in white, were filled with calmness. Sweat could be seen on her fair neck and collarbone, but that expression of concentration actually caused Wang Yunfei's heart to stir. Glancing at Xinjing again, there was a look of frustration in her eyes, as though she wasn't too satisfied with the divine weapon she forged. That arrogant look on her face was akin to a princess, completely different from Moon's demeanor. However, at this moment Wang Yunfei discovered that Moon, whom he had never paid attention to before, actually moved his heart even more compared to Xinjing. On top of the weaponsmithing pagoda, more and more people finished their forging. For a period of time, the entire pagoda was filled with the sharpness of divine weapons, as the humming sounds of weapons resonated unceasingly. It's done. At this moment Rongyan heaved a sigh of relief. His long spear had been successfully forged. I'm done as well, Xinjing faintly spoke. Her fire-colored ruler had been completed. The two of them glanced over at Moon, only to see her waiting for her divine weapon to cool down. Her beautiful wings exuded a sense of beauty. Xinjing sarcastically spoke. Divine weapons aren't useful just because they look good. After speaking, she took out her own divine weapon and infused her astral energy into it. Instantly, terrifying flames gushed forth, resembling the roar of a flaming ferocious bird. Terrifying to the extreme. A top-grade 4th-rank divine weapon. Not only that, it can be considered not bad among the top-grade ones, Wang Yunfei faintly stated. Many thanks, senior. Xinjing elegantly smiled. Wang Yunfei lightly nodded his head. Rongyan also infused his astral energy into his long spear, causing a terrifying sharpness to erupt forth from it. It was also a top-grade 4th-rank divine weapon, comparable to Xinjing's. The two of them turned their gazes onto Moon only to see her waving her hands as a pair of wings appeared on her back. The pure white light radiating from the wings was so resplendent, slowly flapping. At this moment Moon was like an angel, pure and flawless. Bzzz. The wings fluttered as a terrifying silvery light erupted forth, resembling a silver-white ferocious bird soaring up into the skies, exuding a fearsome might that caused the hearts of Xinjing and Rongyan to tremble. In the next instant, Moon's body floated up into the air. The pure white wings radiated a brilliant light as she stared at the dumbfounded Xinjing and Rongyan. There was no need to say anything else. How can this be possible? Rongyan's countenance was incredibly ugly to behold. The divine weapon forged by junior sister Moon is a peak-tier 4th-ranked one. Not only that, it has both offense and defense, and it also has an advantage in speed. It's far from something your divine weapon can compare to. Wang Yunfei faintly spoke. At this moment Rongyan stared at that angelic silhouette, silently cursing himself for being blind in the past. Why didn't he pursue such a girl? Xinjing's countenance alternated between shades of green and white. She didn't expect things to turn out like this. Xinjing, if you apologize to my friend together with Rongyan, I can forget about this matter. Moon coldly spoke. Shenjing was still as arrogant as ever. You want me to apologize to such a lowly person? Dream on. Moon, even if your weaponsmithing abilities aren't bad, you are only fit to be friends with such a person. Fine, from now onwards scram out of the Divine Weapon Academy. Moon's countenance was ice cold. You. Shenjing stared at Moon. The two beauties stared at each other. Wang Yunfei laughed when he saw this scene. Junior sister Moon, your weaponsmithing abilities are extraordinary. Later on, I will bring you to meet Master and beg him to accept you as a disciple. How about that? Moon's beautiful eyes flashed with surprise. Wang Yunfei's senior brother was a major character in the Divine Weapon Academy. A look of joy flashed in her eyes as she turned to Wang Yunfei. Many thanks, senior brother. No worries. Wang Yunfei smiled in a carefree manner. For such an outstanding woman like Moon, he naturally had some thoughts in his heart. Junior sister Shenjing, what grudge do you have with junior sister Moon? Why must you act like this? Why don't I help you resolve it? Wang Yunfei spoke to Shenjing. Not long ago, Shenjing was still filled with jealousy and anger. But now when she heard Wang Yunfei's words, she felt joy in her heart. She then replied, a few days ago, I met a person who just arrived in the sacred royal city. He knew that Rong Yan and I are students of the Divine Weapon Academy and hence, he intentionally got close to us. After that, he begged us to recommend him to the Divine Weapon Academy. We recommended him to be Moon's apprentice, but who would have thought that this person didn't know what's good for him? Now, I wonder if he and Moon have developed feelings for each other because of their weaponsmithing, causing him to be so arrogant. Wang Yunfei understood in his heart, he didn't expect it to be because of a mere apprentice. He couldn't help but to smile. Junior sister Moon, I can introduce many outstanding apprentices to you. Senior brother, things aren't like what Shenjing said. Shenjing and Rong Yan didn't respect others. Moon spoke. How about this? I'll apologize to you on behalf of junior sister Shenjing. After all, we are fellow apprentice sisters. Don't let such a small matter affect the harmony between us. Wang Yunfei spoke. Moon felt somewhat unhappy in her heart when she heard Wang Yunfei saying that it was a small matter. However, she still respected this genius senior brother of hers. Hence, she added, this matter has nothing to do with senior brother. There's no need for senior brother to apologize. Wang Yunfei had a satisfied smile on his face when he heard this. That settles it then. I will recommend some outstanding apprentice weapons to junior sister. Junior sister Moon, please don't ruin the harmony between us for the sake of a mere apprentice weapon. After all, an apprentice weapon is just an apprentice weapon. It is destined that he will never be one of us. Moon started again. She stared at Wang Yunfei, feeling somewhat disappointed. Her gaze shifted downwards as her beautiful eyes froze. She saw Qin Wentian carrying little rascal in his arms as he turned to leave. Not us. Wang Yunfei, I didn't expect you to be such a person as well. Moon's countenance turned completely cold. After which, she walked downwards as she called out, Tungwen. Qin Wentian turned his head and smiled at Moon. Moon, your examination has already ended. It's time for me to leave. Don't be unhappy because of me. Hypocrite. Shenjing couldn't help but coldly snort when she saw Wang Yunfei's countenance turning incredibly ugly. Seems like the two of them are indeed in cahoots. Rong Yan didn't conceal his voice at all, causing everyone in the public square to hear it clearly. What status did Wang Yunfei have in the academy? Yet today he was actually being criticized by others. His gaze turned to Qin Wentian and Moon as he icily spoke. A mere apprentice, what kind of place do you take my Divine Weapon Academy for? Do you think you can come and go as you please? Although his temper wasn't bad, and earlier he wanted to resolve the conflict between Moon and Shenjing in front of everyone, wanting to gain a favorable impression from both of them. However, because of a mere apprentice, Moon actually fell out with him. He, Wang Yunfei, was actually inferior to a mere apprentice? Qin Wentian inclined his head, calmly glancing at Wang Yunfei. He initially wanted to quietly spectate this examination, but who would have thought that such a huge commotion would occur? He lifted his foot and stepped out, causing rumbling sounds to echo out. On the public square, divine inscriptions flashed as they extended outwards unceasingly. Qin Wentian continued stepping out, and an instant later, The incomparably exquisite divine inscriptions on the ground radiated a terrifying light as the roars of terrifying ferocious beasts could be heard. This terror appeared on the faces of the crowd. How could this be possible? One divine inscription per step? Not only that, they were all powerful fourth-rank divine inscriptions. You aren't qualified to speak to me like this. Qin Wentian stared straight at Wang Yunfei. Chapter 618. Qin Wentian originally didn't have any plans to stay here for long. It was only because of Moon that he decided to stay here for 2 more days. He initially wanted to leave quietly after the weaponsmithing examination was over. Being able to see Moon rise to fame in the academy, this trip could already be considered perfect. However, reality was beyond his expectations. He didn't intend to bicker with Rong Yan and Shen Jing, nor did he wish to disrupt Moon's life in the Divine Weapon Academy. Yet, there were some things that forced their way to her. Since this was the case, he had no choice but to smooth things over. Hence, he displayed his extraordinary attainments in the Tao of Divine Inscriptions. After which, the current situation was created. The gazes of those who were focused on Wang Yunfei and the treasured pagoda all landed on him. Or more accurately, they were staring at the divine inscriptions beneath his feet. Every step he took was a fourth-rank divine inscription. Such a terrifying level of attainment in the Tao of Divine Inscriptions was sufficient to cause those so-called geniuses of the Divine Weapon Academy to feel despair. Would they be able to reach such a level? Even Wang Yunfei wouldn't be able to reach such a terrifying level, right? Not only that, the few steps Qin Wentian took were all aimed at Wang Yunfei, the most dazzling genius of the Divine Weapon Academy. Wang Yunfei, you are not qualified to speak to me in this manner. A cold voice, in addition to that transcendent attainment in the Tao of Divine Inscriptions, was undoubtedly the most effective reply to Wang Yunfei's words. Wang Yunfei vented his anger on Qin Wentian because of Moon's attitude. Hence, Qin Wentian used the most direct method to retaliate. Could Wang Yunfei do it? He couldn't. Hence, the spectators saw that Wang Yunfei's usually calm countenance had turned ashen. At this moment, the domineering manner Qin Wentian displayed caused even Moon to be stunned. During the few days she interacted with Qin Wentian was magnanimous, cheerful, and always had a smile on his face, giving off a misconception that he didn't care about anything. This was the first time she saw such a domineering and tyrannical side of Qin Wentian, completely different from when he faced Shen Jing and Rong Yan. At this instant, Qin Wentian didn't conceal his sharpness at all. It was as though as long as he willed it, he could become the focal point. Even Wang Yunfei paled in comparison to him. This caused Moon's heart to tremble. Who was this fellow exactly? Among the crowd, the ones with the most intense fluctuations in their hearts were none other than Rong Yan and Shen Jing. Right now, the sharpness radiating from Qin Wentian caused their hearts to tremble. They had actually arranged for Qin Wentian to be their apprentice. If that was the extent of it, it was still fine. But they even forcefully pushed Qin Wentian to Moon, making him her apprentice. Shen Jing and Rong Yan weren't fools. When they saw Qin Wentian's strength as well as Moon's protection of him, how could they still not understand how Moon managed to complete her transformation? All of these were given to Moon by them. Qin Wentian was helping her. What was even more ridiculous was that they even tried to make things difficult for Qin Wentian. But now that things had come to this, there was no turning back. Qin Wentian then shifted his gaze onto Rong Yan and Shen Jing. His ice-cold gaze was like a sharp sword, causing the hearts of the two of them to tremble. Not everyone is as hypocritical as the two of you. Moon has a kind heart. Although I was gifted to Moon by the two of you using my identity as an apprentice, Moon didn't show any disrespect towards me. On the contrary, she allowed me to observe her forging, hence I treated her as a friend. As for the two of you, I've never shown any malice towards you, but the expressions on your faces are filled with arrogance and disdain. Even your words contain hints of humiliation. Qin Wentian coldly continued, looking at that arrogant countenance of yours, those who don't know would think that you two are very strong. You are merely ordinary students. I really don't know where the arrogance written on your faces comes from. Do you know why I don't want to bicker with you two? Because you are not worthy. His words were like heavy hammers smashing into the hearts of Rong Yan and Shen Jing, causing their countenances to turn pale. That's right, from the start to the end, Qin Wentian didn't want to bicker with them. It wasn't because he didn't have a temper, but rather he felt that they were not worthy. How arrogant were these words? However, Qin Wentian did indeed have the confidence to back it up. I know who you are. At this moment, Wang Yunfei stared at Qin Wentian as he coldly spoke. Qin Wentian inclined his head, only to see Wang Yunfei coldly laughing. 7th level of Heavenly Dipper, as well as your aura. I won't be wrong. In the Flying Immortal Tower, you took out hundreds of top-tier 4th-rank divine weapons in exchange for the Sky Demon Oracle Bone Powder, and even killed Shui Yunfan of the Cold Slaughter sect. Who would have thought that you were actually hiding in my Divine Weapon Academy? Wang Yunfei's words once again caused a huge wave of commotion. Even the elders in the spectator stands were moved. Taking out hundreds of top-tier 4th-rank divine weapons? How strong was the weaponsmithing prowess of this man? Just by looking at his terrifying attainments in the Tao of Divine Inscriptions, one could already imagine how easy it would be for him to forge a top-tier 4th-rank divine weapon. Not only that, why did Qin Wentian use so many divine weapons to exchange for the Sky Demon Oracle Bone Powder at the Flying Immortal Tower? So what if I know? Qin Wentian coldly spoke to Wang Yunfei. You came to my Divine Weapon Academy because you have no way to forge weapons by yourself. Hence, you needed to borrow the strength of the Divine Weapon Academy. Moon is precisely the person who helped you forge weapons. You used the resources of my Divine Weapon Academy to forge divine weapons to exchange for the Sky Demon Oracle Bone Powder. And now you even dared to act so arrogantly here. Do you think that you have extraordinary talent in the Tao of Divine Inscriptions? As expected of a heaven chosen of the Divine Weapon Academy, Wang Yunfei very quickly deduced many things. Qin Wentian came to the Divine Weapon Academy because he wanted to borrow the strength of the Flying Immortal Tower. Also, this man didn't have any strong backing to rely on, which was why he wore a conical bamboo hat to conceal his identity. Since this was the case, how could they allow him to leave so easily today? Wang Yunfei, aren't your words too shameless? The resources he used were all my own. When did I use the Academy's resources? In the past, Moon had always idolized Wang Yunfei, but right now she was completely disappointed. Even if he was still the most outstanding genius in the Heavenly Dipper realm of the Divine Weapon Academy. Moon. Qin Wentian called out. Moon glanced at Qin Wentian only to see Qin Wentian smiling. There's no need to fight, because it's completely meaningless. Moon's countenance stiffened. An intense sense of disappointment could be seen in her eyes. Although she had performed outstandingly, her status in the academy couldn't be compared to Wang Yunfei, whose achievements in the path of cultivation as well as his talent in weaponsmithing. If not, she would be able to help Qin Wentian. Wang Yunfei, no matter what excuse you find, you are still coveting the treasures in my possession. However, are you even worthy? Qin Wentian sarcastically spoke again. Seniors of the Divine Weapon Academy, what do you all have to say about this matter? Such an arrogant voice caused the hearts of many students to tremble. This man was too arrogant. He basically didn't care about Wang Yunfei at all. Your weaponsmithing prowess is extraordinary. Are you willing to join our Divine Weapon Academy? An elder asked. I don't like to be restricted. I can only let down seniors' kindness. Qin Wentian rejected without any hesitation, causing Moon to feel even more nervous. Since you are not a student of our academy, we, the elders, naturally won't interfere in the grudge between you and Wang Yunfei. You can settle it yourself. That elder spoke. I'm sure everyone has seen Moon's weaponsmithing prowess. If she is in the Divine Weapon Academy, there shouldn't be anyone making things difficult for her, right? Qin Wentian asked again. Don't worry, we aren't blind. Moon's weaponsmithing prowess is naturally in our eyes. As long as she is willing, the elders of the academy will accept her as a disciple. Our Divine Weapon Academy isn't so lacking in magnanimity that we would vent our anger on a genius of our academy, just because of the grudge between you and Wang Yunfei. That elder replied. Junior naturally believes in the Divine Weapon Academy. Qin Wentian nodded. He turned to Moon. Moon, your talent in weaponsmithing isn't bad. This place is very suitable for you. Work hard and you will definitely have accomplishments in the future. This matter shall end here. It has nothing to do with you. No. Moon wanted to speak. She knew how strong Wang Yunfei was. He was someone who would be participating in the sacred battle platform tomorrow. Facing such a powerful existence, Even if Qin Wentian's attainments in divine inscriptions were extraordinary, it was impossible for him to surpass Wang Yunfei in terms of combat. This matter ends here. Qin Wentian directly interrupted Moon's words. As for Wang Yunfei, I don't care about him. At this moment, when Moon saw the self-confidence Qin Wentian exuded, she actually started to believe Qin Wentian. Just when she was hesitating, Qin Wentian turned to Wang Yunfei and asked, I heard that you will be heading to the sacred battle platform tomorrow to join in the fun? Wang Yunfei started. After that, he coldly laughed. There's a battle arranged tomorrow. I, Wang Yunfei, do indeed want to go there to take a look. As for the battle arranged tomorrow, I also want to take a look. The sacred battle platform is truly suitable for me to spread my name across the world. If you can defeat me, I will gift you as many divine weapons as you want. Qin Wentian emotionlessly spoke. Since he was going to battle tomorrow, he might as well settle it tomorrow. Wang Yunfei contemplated for a moment before stepping out and pointing to Qin Wentian. You said it yourself. What if you don't appear tomorrow? I will go with you tomorrow. If he doesn't appear, you can do whatever you want to me. Moon stared at Wang Yunfei as she spoke. Qin Wentian started, but upon seeing the resolution in Moon's eyes, he didn't say anything more. How could he not appear tomorrow? After all, there was already a battle arranged for him. Fine, everyone in the academy has heard your words. Wang Yunfei stared at Moon before pointing to Qin Wentian. If you don't dare to appear tomorrow, I will make Moon become my maid. You better think about the consequences. Qin Wentian's countenance turned cold. If you are defeated, what will you do? Do whatever you want to me. Wang Yunfei was incomparably confident. He had a cultivation base at the 9th level of Heavenly Dipper. How could he be defeated? See you tomorrow. Qin Wentian turned and carried Little Rascal in his arms as he left together with Qing. Very swiftly, they left the Divine Weapon Academy. However, the atmosphere in the Divine Weapon Academy was in an uproar. Even the examination today seemed to have lost its luster. Tomorrow, the sacred battle platform would be filled with geniuses from all over the world. The battle between the top ranker of the immortal martial realm, Qin Wentian, and one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, Di Shi, was so dazzling that it was unknown how many experts would be attracted. In addition to the fact that Wang Yunfei would also be on the sacred battle platform, how could the crowd not go crazy? Moon frowned as though she was worried. As for Rongyan and Shenjing, their countenances were ice-cold. Tomorrow, Wang Yunfei would surely ruthlessly trample on that fellow who caused them to lose all face. Chapter 619. After Qin Wentian left, the year-end examination of the Divine Weapon Academy continued. However, the atmosphere was no longer the same as before. The thoughts of many had already drifted to tomorrow. At the same time, the people of the sacred royal city started to head towards the direction of the sacred battle platform. Although there were over 1 million people gathered outside the immortal martial realm, in the perspective of the royal sacred region, this number was merely a drop of water in the ocean. The vast majority of the people in the sacred royal city had never seen Qin Wentian before. They had only heard of what happened in the immortal martial realm. Being the top ranker of the immortal martial realm, slaying a prince of Grand Shang Empire, causing an elder of the royal sacred sect to fall because of him. He was the lover of the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, the son-in-law of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, the adopted son of the Emperor of Yi, a disciple of the Battle Sword sect, breaking the sword comprehension record of the Battle Sword sect, and having the highest potential among the Heavenly Dipper sovereigns of the Battle Sword sect. All these titles caused Qin Wentian to have too many halos surrounding him. Not only that, he wasn't fighting against an ordinary opponent. His opponent was one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses of the royal sacred region, Di Shi, the absolute genius of the supreme Di clan. In a radius of a few hundred miles around the sacred battle platform, the entire area was filled with people. Countless experts rushed there. The inns and restaurants were all filled. Tonight, no one slept. Countless people were discussing the current situation of the younger generation in the royal sacred region. There were rumors that Gu Lufeng might have left the royal sacred region, while Hua Taishu had joined the royal sacred sect. Other than the two of them, for out of the other 6 era-suppressing geniuses had already appeared in this region. There were people who saw them. Many experts from the Celestial Maiden sect also appeared. Lin Xian who had the title of the number one beauty, attracted the gazes of countless people. The upper echelons of the Supreme D clan had also arrived. There were even more experts from the Granshang Empire, and there were even a few sword sovereigns from the Battle Sword sect, etc. In any case, the entire region around the sacred battle platform was in an uproar. Tonight, in a radius of a few hundred miles around the sacred battle platform, many conflicts occurred. Many of them were arguing over who would be the victor between Qin Wentian and Di Shi. Tonight, no one slept. Hence, the scene of the sacred battle platform being packed so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through when the sun rose the next day. Without the strength of a celestial phenomenon ascendant or the backing of a major power, they didn't even dare to squeeze their way to the front. They didn't even dare to soar through the air and fly above the heads of the crowd. For someone without any background or strength, wasn't this simply courting death? The rising sun shone down on the sacred battle platform, causing the entire platform to be dyed in a layer of golden light. The sacred battle platform had viewing platforms in all 8 directions, sufficient to accommodate tens of thousands of spectators. Below these viewing platforms there were many passageways. Right now, there were no spectators on the viewing platforms, but the passageways were already filled with people. The sun is hanging high in the sky. It's time to make an appearance, right? Someone mused in his heart. At this moment, a whistling sound rang out in the air, causing the hearts of many to tremble. Those who dared to fly in the air at this moment were undoubtedly from major powers of the royal sacred region, or those supreme geniuses. Only then would their subordinates be willing to tolerate such a thing. Be sure. Someone instantly exclaimed when he saw the person in the lead. He had a sharp gaze, a murderous expression, and a wild aura that emanated from his entire body. He was like a peerless, ferocious bird. His gaze seemed ordinary, but so long as one came into contact with his eyes, one would be able to sense the terrifying explosive power contained within that indifference. Is he Di Shi? He's actually the first to arrive. Seems like he has been preparing for this battle for a very long time. The crowd instantly erupted into an uproar. Di Shi was the first to step onto the sacred battle platform. Behind him, there were many experts from the Supreme D clan, all of them exuding a terrifying aura. These people arrived at one of the 8 viewing platforms and flicked their sleeves as they sat down. Di Shi sat down as well. His eyes were closed as he silently waited, not releasing any aura at all. Not too long after, another group of silhouettes soared through the air, landing on the viewing platform, causing a huge commotion. These people were all from the Granshang Empire. The person in the lead had a crown on his head, exuding a lofty aura. His eyes gleamed with the aura of a true dragon, as though he was the ruler of this entire world. That's the Crown Prince of Granshang, Shang Yin. 20 years ago, he was ranked number 4 in the immortal martial realm. His talent is unparalleled, and he's currently cultivating in the royal sacred sect. Now that Shang Tong has fallen, it's rumored that the Emperor of Granshang is going to confer the title of Crown Prince to him, allowing him to inherit the throne of Granshang. Seems like the rumors are true. Many sighed in admiration. Shang Yin came here with a lofty status, wearing a crown on his head. Maybe he has already been conferred the title of Crown Prince of Granshang. The people from the Violet Thunder sect have arrived. From afar, more experts arrived. These were none other than the Violet Thunder sect of the 9 great sections. After the Violet Thunder sect, the other experts from the 9 great sects also arrived. And after that, the Qi clan and Tianfan sect of the western regions arrived, as well as 2 supreme geniuses. The appearance of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, Qi Lian and Fan Miaoyu, instantly attracted the attention of the crowd. However, very swiftly, their gazes were drawn over by others. The people from the Celestial Maiden sect had also arrived. The number 1 beauty of the royal sacred region, Lin Xian had appeared in the Celestial Maiden sect. Her breathtaking countenance instantly caused many to be dazed. Before Lin Xian Fan Miaoyu and Princess Jiaoyang of the Guangzhou Empire had also arrived. Both of them were already very beautiful, yet they couldn't be compared to Lin Xian. The experts from Radiant Gold Ancient Country have arrived. The experts from the War Country have arrived. Li Tian, one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, has arrived. The crowd exclaimed unceasingly. Today it was destined that countless supreme experts would arrive. And at this moment, a group of people walked over from afar. The person in the lead was clad in a simple long robe that wasn't luxurious at all. Yet when he stood there, he exuded the aura of a king. Such an aura was somewhat similar to Shang Yin of Grand Shang, the human emperor of Yi Qingyun. Someone recognized this person as many exclaimed in shock. Even the human emperor of Yi had personally arrived. Yi Qingyun is the foster father of Qin Wentian. Back then, he was absent during the immortal martial realm battle. This time around he came to support Qin Wentian, hoping that Qin Wentian would be able to suppress the 8 era-suppressing geniuses. Father! A voice drifted over from afar. A look of joy appeared on Yi Qingyun's face as he turned his gaze in that direction. He saw Yi Lingshuang appearing together with the experts from the Battle Sword sect. The Battle Sword sect has arrived. Why hasn't Qin Wentian appeared? The gazes of the crowd searched for Qin Wentian. Yet they discovered that Qin Wentian wasn't there. At this instant Di Shi's eyes opened, gleaming with sharpness as he stared in the direction of the Battle Sword sect. He coldly spoke, "Could it be that Qin Wentian is afraid of battle today and doesn't dare to show up? Junior brother Qin has long departed. He should be in the sacred royal city now." A voice drifted over. The person who spoke was none other than Lin Shuai. This caused many to glance at him, as well as Ji Feishue, who was beside Lin Shuai. Another era-suppressing genius had arrived. Di Shi coldly snorted as he closed his eyes once more. On the viewing platform the number of people gathered grew more and more. It was unknown how many famous characters there were. In a certain location a group of experts were gathered. These were none other than the people from the Divine Weapon Academy, and Wang Yunfei was among them. Other than Wang Yunfei, Rongyan, Shenjing and Moon were all here. "Senior brother, this is the stage that belongs to you." Shenjing smiled. She was as beautiful and elegant as ever, but right now she wasn't as conspicuous as before, because there were simply too many females who were more outstanding than her. Wang Yunfei nodded, filled with anticipation. The sacred battle platform. Would it be the battle where he, Wang Yunfei, would truly become famous throughout the royal sacred region? In fact, he had long wanted to come here to test his strength. Now that the battle between Qin Wentian and Di Shi was in the limelight, he came here to make use of this opportunity. "I'm only afraid that someone has already slipped away, not daring to appear." Rongyan mocked, staring at Moon. Today if that person didn't come, Moon would have become Wang Yunfei's maid. At that time he could already imagine Moon's ending. What a pity, such a beauty would become Wang Yunfei's plaything. He isn't that kind of person. Moon frowned. She believed in Qin Wentian. "You actually have fantasies about him?" Shenjing coldly laughed. "Could it be that something really happened between you and him? Don't tell me your feelings were played by him?" Humph. Moon coldly stared at Shenjing. Shenjing mocked, "Look, more and more experts are arriving. When he sees such a lineup, I'm afraid he wouldn't dare to come out, right?" When Moon heard her sarcasm she replied, "Maybe he would do the same thing as yesterday, appearing here in such a dazzling manner. At that time, you can only look up to him in admiration." Shenjing froze. She stared at Moon in disbelief. After which, she spoke in a low voice, "Have you gone crazy?" After speaking she turned her gaze away, no longer looking at Moon. At this moment, a commotion rang out from the surroundings. After which, the commotion grew louder and louder as a terrifying sound wave erupted forth. In the air, the silhouette of a young man slowly walked over. The instant he appeared, countless gazes turned to him. Qin Wentian has arrived. Is he the top ranker of the immortal martial realm, Qin Wentian? This young man was clad in white, simple and clean. His features were handsome, and his long hair fluttered in the wind. Casually standing in the air, he exuded a sense of magnificence. "Wentian, you are here." The human emperor smiled. "Foster father." Qin Wentian nodded to the human emperor. "Junior brother Qin." Lin Shuai and the others from the Battle Sword sect greeted Qin Wentian. "Sir Qin, we meet again." Lin Xian from the Celestial Maiden sect stepped forward, smiling at Qin Wentian. "Wentian." A voice drifted over from afar. After which, the crowd saw a group of female silhouettes floating over. The one in the lead had a countenance so beautiful that it could topple empires. She wasn't the slightest bit inferior compared to Lin Xian or Qingcheng. Qin Wentian smiled. He walked to the side of Mo Qingcheng and held her hand. The two of them stood together, resembling a golden boy and jade girl. A match made in heaven. Is he Qin Wentian? Wang Yunfei stared at the silhouette of the young man, his countenance fluctuating. Shen Jing's beautiful eyes flickered with a bright light. Staring at Qin Wentian and Mo Qingcheng, she couldn't help but feel a sense of inferiority in her heart. She no longer had the slightest bit of arrogance as she mumbled, "These two should be the true heaven's chosen." The instant he appeared, he instantly attracted the attention of everyone. Rong Yin stared at Qin Wentian. He didn't have any thoughts of comparing himself to him. Moon stared at Qin Wentian as she involuntarily thought of another silhouette in her heart. Seems like the person you are waiting for won't be coming. Moon, just accept your fate. Shen Jing sarcastically spoke. She actually thought that the person she was looking for would appear in a dazzling manner. How ridiculous! And just as Shen Jing was speaking, Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice to Mo Qingcheng. "I'm going to go greet a friend of mine." Mo Qingcheng nodded her head lightly, after which she saw Qin Wentian walking a few steps forward. Shen Jing discovered that his gaze was actually directed in her direction. Momentarily, Shen Jing's heart pounded wildly. Moon's beautiful eyes froze as well. She stared at that pair of eyes. That expression, there was a sense of déjà vu. "Moon," Qin Wentian called out. Instantly, Moon's beautiful eyes froze. It was as though her breathing had stopped. She naturally knew who this familiar name belonged to. But at this moment, the shock in her heart was even greater compared to the time when he stepped onto the path of fourth-rank divine inscriptions. Tianwen Wentian Qin Wentian. He appeared in an even more dazzling manner, like a heavenly deity descending to the mortal world. Chapter 620. Time seemed to have stopped. Moon's beautiful eyes froze as she stood there unmoving. Yet in her heart a raging tempest arose. This young man was actually Qin Wentian. Moon had thought that someone like Tianwen might be a heaven's chosen, or an outstanding genius from an aristocratic clan. But the reason he appeared here today was because he came together with his clan. But what Moon didn't expect was that he actually came here alone. Not only that, he had changed his face to one that was even more handsome and youthful, appearing in the limelight in front of everyone. Because he was Qin Wentian, the top ranker of the immortal martial realm, the young man who was currently the most discussed person in the royal sacred region. Rong Yin and Shen Jing were both stunned for a moment. They didn't recognize Qin Wentian. But after that, they also felt that his voice was somewhat familiar. After that, their hearts were struck by a heavy blow. The shock they felt was indescribable with words. When Rong Yin saw Qin Wentian appearing, he knew that this young man wasn't someone he could compare to. When Shen Jing saw Qin Wentian, she said that he was a true heaven's chosen. However, the heaven's chosen in her eyes was someone she had once humiliated and mocked. Now that she thought back to Qin Wentian's words yesterday, she didn't bother with them because they weren't worthy. Moon's unintentional words actually turned into reality. Qin Wentian really appeared in an even more dazzling manner, and she, Shen Jing, could only look up to him in admiration. "Thank you." A light laugh rang out. Moon's beautiful eyes were filled with a radiant smile. However, her eyes were slightly moist, as though there were tears flickering within. She didn't know why these tears were flowing. But at this moment, Moon was extremely grateful to herself. Her emotions were extremely complicated. "Thank you." Moon sincerely spoke. This young man in front of her, he allowed her to undergo a complete transformation, appearing in such a dazzling manner in front of those who mocked her. He exuded a magnificence that surpassed the generations, becoming the center of attention the moment he appeared. He fulfilled all the fantasies Moon had of her other half, perfect and flawless. But Moon understood that it was destined to be nothing more than a fairy tale. Just like what she had thought before, such a character, only an incomparably beautiful woman would be able to match up to him. Mo Qingcheng was undoubtedly such a woman. They stood together holding hands. Everyone would feel that they were a match made in heaven. She would only wish the young man in front of her the best, walking towards his glorious future. "Moon, even without me, you would still have completed your transformation sooner or later. I merely did some things in advance. Most of it is because of your innate talent." Qin Wentian gently laughed. Oh yeah, don't forget what you promised me. If there's a day when I want to forge a weapon, you will help me without any compensation. Naturally, I can even help you forge weapons every day. Moon smiled radiantly. But as the sound of her voice faded, she suddenly felt that there was something wrong with her words. After which, a blush appeared on her face as she lowered her head and fiddled with her skirt. I'll take your words seriously. Qin Wentian laughed. When the two of them were conversing, Rong Yan and Shen Jing didn't even bother to interrupt. Qin Wentian didn't even glance at them. Such disregard surpassed any form of humiliation. And at this moment, Wang Yunfei's countenance turned ashen. This top ranker of the immortal martial realm actually had a higher attainment in the Tao of divine inscriptions than him. And as for the path of cultivation, there was no doubt that if the two of them were at the same level, he would only be insta-killed. This was a character who dared to jump levels to challenge Disher. Shang Tong couldn't even withstand a single strike from him. However, Wang Yunfei, wasn't at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper. He was at the 9th level. Since his opponent was Qin Wentian, it was even better. An intense battle intent gushed forth from him as he rushed towards Qin Wentian. This battle would be the battle where his name would resound throughout the world. Since you are Qin Wentian, it's even better. Wang Yunfei floated up into the air, staring at Qin Wentian as he roared, "Fight!" Qin Wentian swept a glance at Wang Yunfei before turning and stepping out. His silhouette directly appeared in the airspace above the sacred battle platform. On the sacred battle platform, a dazzling light flashed as a terrifying formless fluctuation could be felt. At this instant, Disher opened his eyes. His gaze was incomparably demonic, akin to that of a primordial bird of prey. He stared at Qin Wentian, his gaze so sharp that it felt as though it could tear people apart. He icily spoke, "Hurry up and settle your matter. Your life is mine." His arrogant voice contained an arrogance that disregarded everything. For this battle, he came here with the conviction that he would definitely win. His words similarly humiliated Wang Yunfei. It was like in his eyes, Wang Yunfei wasn't even worth a mention, and he wanted Qin Wentian to settle this quickly. Such humiliation caused Wang Yunfei to turn ashen. He glanced at Disher before stepping out. I, Wang Yunfei of the Divine Weapon Academy, hereby challenge Qin Wentian. After speaking, his silhouette walked up the sacred battle platform. Choose the rules of the battle. A voice drifted over. It was none other than the controller of the sacred battle platform. This ancient and famous battle platform wasn't a place where just anyone could step on. Unless one was a heaven's chosen, they wouldn't have the qualifications to fight on the sacred battle platform. You decide first. Qin Wentian stared at Wang Yunfei as he emotionlessly spoke. Divine weapons below the 5th ranked can be used. If you admit defeat, you are not allowed to continue fighting. If you lose, I want all your interspatial rings. Wang Yunfei coldly spoke. Fine. If you lose, I will break one of your arms. Qin Wentian's eyes were emotionless. Fine. Wang Yunfei gritted his teeth, his countenance turned ashen. Qin Wentian actually wanted one of his arms? The rules are set. Those who violate them shall be slain on the sacred battle platform. A cold and imposing voice rang out. After which, a bright light flashed as a formless rune flowed about. A stone platform appeared beneath the feet of the two of them, and at the same time, a screen of light enveloped them. The sacred battle platform was officially opened. There were no fixed rules on the sacred battle platform. It was set by the two combatants. Once both parties agreed, the rules would be set. If one party violated the rules, the energy of the sacred battle platform would directly kill him. Rumble. A supreme aura gushed forth from Wang Yunfei. He inclined his head slightly as his astral nova was released. His body was clad in a suit of armor, and a resplendent halo of divine weapons could be seen behind him, capable of destroying everything. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out, as though his blood was boiling. The sharpness in his body grew even stronger, as though his body was forged from divine weapons. Ha! Wang Yunfei stepped out, soaring up into the air. He stared at Qin Wentian, who was still standing on the stone platform, as he roared in rage. Instantly, boundless sharpness erupted forth, resplendent with the killing intent towering up into the sky. Qin Wentian's bloodline seethed, resembling the descendant of a supreme demon king. He stood there, his long hair fluttering in the wind as his aura surged madly. A resplendent golden light flashed as the wings of a golden-winged great rock appeared on his back. When the light from the divine weapon slashed over, Qin Wentian abruptly moved. He was like a bolt of golden lightning, vanishing from his original location in the blink of an eye. The golden rock's silhouette lengthened unceasingly as countless afterimages appeared, making it impossible to see where the true body was. Wang Yunfei's aura grew increasingly sharp, yet to his shock, he discovered that everything he saw was an illusion. There was a faint dream-type energy seeping into his body, causing him to hallucinate. Vizi, a resplendent golden silhouette whistled in rage as it shot towards him. Wang Yunfei coldly snorted as the light from the divine weapon behind him erupted forth. That golden silhouette shattered into pieces, yet there was no blood. Wang Yunfei. A voice drifted into his ears, sounding like it came from all directions. The golden rock in front of him seemed to have split into thousands of clones. It was impossible to tell which was the real one and which was the fake one. Wang Yunfei's eyes gleamed with a terrifying cold light as a sharp aura that could annihilate everything gushed forth. Wang Yunfei waved his palms and instantly, the sounds of explosions rang out unceasingly. Destructive beams of light filled the air, and with a thunderous rumble, Wang Yunfei instantly found the location of the true body of Qin Wentian. His palms pressed downwards as a wave of destructive fluctuations manifested. However, astral light flashed as a terrifying palm imprint smashed downwards, shattering everything. After which, an incomparably lofty pair of eyes stared at Wang Yunfei as the silhouette of that golden rock rushed over with lightning speed. Right now, Qin Wentian already had a rough idea of what level Wang Yunfei's attack was at. He activated the illusionary clone art, as many incarnations of Qin Wentian appeared in the surroundings. These incarnations were all staring at Wang Yunfei as their eyes gleamed with a light so bright that it could penetrate into the soul, causing Wang Yunfei's heart to tremble intensely. Seems like I've overestimated you. You are truly unworthy. Qin Wentian emotionlessly spoke. After which, he simply stood there and blasted out with his palms. Instantly, a million palm imprints erupted forth, blasting towards Wang Yunfei. Wang Yunfei's countenance grew incredibly unsightly. Qin Wentian actually dared to look down on him like this? Wang Yunfei's entire body was covered in blood, and there seemed to be a crimson glow radiating from him. Numerous blood-colored spears manifested and shot up into the sky. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly as the palm imprints and spears exploded. Wang Yunfei stepped out, and the light behind him that could mince everything in its path shot out. Qin Wentian's countenance was expressionless as he continued pressing downwards. The millions of palm imprints seemed to be able to crush the heavens and earth, destroying everything. The two of them got closer and closer, as though they were about to fight in close-range combat. What a violent battle! The spectators in the surroundings all felt their hearts pounding. Such a battle was too violent, using offense against offense. The tyrannical qi currents engulfed the entire sacred battle platform. Qin Wentian pressed downwards from the air. Each and every palm imprint contained an incomparably fearsome vibrational force. It was unknown how many rounds of attacks had landed, but Wang Yunfei only felt his internal organs trembling from the impact, as he felt an immense pressure bearing down on him. Qin Wentian roared in rage. Yet another round of attacks that seemed capable of annihilating the heavens and earth blasted out. After which, several silhouettes howled in rage as a surge of destructive might gushed forth, causing Wang Yunfei's countenance to stiffen. Die! Wang Yunfei howled in rage, wanting to struggle in desperation. Divine inscriptions erupted forth from his body, enveloping him within. However, he only saw numerous palm imprints slamming down, colliding madly against the halo of light around him. Wang Yunfei coughed out fresh blood as he finally halted his advance, being forced downwards from the impact. A single arm. A voice filled with killing intent rang out. A blood-colored ancient halberd materialized from the void, directly piercing into Wang Yunfei's right arm. With a flick of the halberd, a piercing sound rang out as Wang Yunfei's arm fell from the air. Sword qi rained down, directly shattering the arm. The two of them separated. Wang Yunfei's countenance was as pale as paper. Fresh blood flowed unceasingly from his arm, dripping onto the sacred battle platform. Only this level of strength? You are truly too weak. Scram from here. Qin Wentian stood in the air as he calmly spoke. The screen of light flickered open. Wang Yunfei walked towards the direction of the Divine Weapon Academy, staring at his pale countenance and severed arm, as well as the arrogant figure of Qin Wentian. Shanjing, Rongyan, Moon and the rest all had different feelings in their hearts. Regardless of cultivation or divine inscriptions, that magnificent silhouette of Qin Wentian had absolute superiority over the heaven chosen in their eyes, Wang Yunfei. Chapter 621. The countenances of the spectators on the sacred battle platform were calm. This battle didn't exceed their expectations. Although Wang Yunfei had a very high opinion of himself, and was somewhat famous in the sacred royal city, wanting to borrow the sacred battle platform to spread his name throughout the world. However, not everyone would be able to shock the world with a single brilliant feat like Qin Wentian did in the immortal martial realm. The talent of those supreme geniuses in the royal sacred region could still be estimated from their fame. Although Wang Yunfei was strong, his fame couldn't be compared to the 8 era-suppressing geniuses. Qin Wentian was someone who had the strength to fight against Di Shi. Hence, defeating Wang Yunfei was also within expectations. If not, they would surely be disappointed in this top ranker of the immortal martial realm. This battle caused Shinjing, Rongyan, Moon and the others from the Divine Weapon Academy to be greatly shocked. But to those major characters who came here to spectate today, this was merely a prelude. The next battle would be the one they were truly looking forward to. Qin Wentian's name resounded throughout the immortal martial realm. Now, relying on his incomparable might, he would challenge the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, jumping levels and fighting against Di Shi. If Di Shi won, Qin Wentian's potential would still be limitless. But everyone would treat him as someone on the same level as the 8 era-suppressing geniuses. If Qin Wentian won, his fame would truly suppress the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, becoming an existence that stood at the pinnacle. In the same era, there would be no one who could be on the same level as him. He would be the symbol of an era, the symbol of the future. The meaning of this battle was extraordinary. In addition, this wasn't merely a battle between Qin Wentian and Di Shi. Back in the immortal martial realm, Di Shi even invited the geniuses of the royal sacred region to gather here to battle against the heavens. Qin Wentian didn't feel the slightest bit complacent about defeating Wang Yunfei. He understood that the next challenge was the one he truly needed to face. That was a battle that belonged to him. On the sacred battle platform, Qin Wentian's long hair fluttered in the wind, resembling numerous sharp blades. His entire body exuded a demonic aura. Many people were wondering if this young man would become a new legend today. The sacred battle platform, the most famous battle platform in the royal sacred region, would Qin Wentian's fame rise to fame? Boom! A light sound rang out as though the earth was trembling. Di Shi stood up, his gaze piercing through space, landing on that fiendishly handsome silhouette on the sacred battle platform. His entire body radiated an incomparably baleful aura, as though a supreme ferocious bird of prey was about to erupt forth from his body, slaughtering everything in its path. His sharp eyes swept over the crowd as he emotionlessly spoke. After the immortal martial realm ends, I invite all heroes to gather here. Geniuses below the celestial phenomenon realm are welcome to participate in the battle today. Let's see who is unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper, unrivaled in a single level. Di Shi's voice boomed out, filled with a tyrannical aura. It was as though he came here with unparalleled confidence. Qin Wentian would become the stepping stone for him on his martial path. For the battle today, he would definitely be victorious, slaying the top ranker of the immortal martial realm, Qin Wentian, cleansing the humiliation of not being able to enter the top 10. 8 era-suppressing geniuses, all 8 of them are equally famous. However, I have yet to truly fight against any of them. Taking this opportunity today, I also want to see whose combat prowess is unrivaled. A tyrannical voice thundered out, after which a burly figure walked out from the crowd. This person was none other than one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, Li Tian. There were many races in the desolate mountain range. Some referred to them as the barbarian race, but in truth, a single race had no way to encompass the entire desolate mountain range. Li Tian was born in the Heaven Punisher clan, and there were also people who referred to him as the barbarian Li Tian. His mandate of metal was unrivaled, pursuing the pinnacle. The blood of the desolate mountain range flowed in his veins, allowing his body to expand in size, transforming into a battle god of the desolate mountain range. He was born with innate divine strength, and in addition to his fearsome mandate of metal, his attacks were terrifying. Li Tian's cultivation base has also broken through to the 8th level of Heavenly Dipper. Everyone could feel the powerful aura radiating from Li Tian as they sighed in their hearts. The 8 of them were destined to stand at the forefront of this era, becoming the representatives of this era. After which Qi Lian walked out. His entire body exuded a tyrannical killing intent. The crown prince of the eastern mountain country, Dongyue Hanjiang, has also stepped out. The crowd drew in a deep breath as they saw the silhouette of a king. It was none other than Dongyue Hanjiang. This battle wasn't merely a battle between Di Shi and Qin Wentian. Similarly, it was also a battle between the 8 era-suppressing geniuses. Sadly, Gu Lufeng and Hua Taishu didn't come. Fan Miaoyu also stepped out. Fan Miaoyu's cultivation base had already reached the peak of the 9th level of Heavenly Dipper, and as one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, she could be considered the strongest among these people, and had the highest possibility of being unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper. Ji Feishue didn't step onto the battlefield. His cultivation base was only at the peak of the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper, and although his talent was high, if he wanted to jump levels and fight against these geniuses, he would undoubtedly lose. Staring at the silhouette of Qin Wentian, Ji Feishue couldn't help but to admit that the rumor that Qin Wentian had already replaced him as the #1 disciple of the Battle Sword sect had already become a reality. Just these people. There should still be people who haven't appeared yet, right? Usually they are all known as unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper. Why aren't they stepping out now? Di Shi's voice rang out. As the sound of his voice faded, in the direction of the Violet Thunder sect, another silhouette stepped out. The long robes of this person were embroidered with images of lightning. He stood there, exuding a sense of unexcelled in the world. This person wasn't one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, and his fame couldn't be compared to them. But for those who were familiar with him, they would know that this person was even more dangerous compared to the 8 era-suppressing geniuses. Lu Lan of the Violet Thunder sect, just like what Di Shi had said, he had already reached the level of being unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper. What did it mean to be unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper? Just like the name implied, it meant that one was at the peak of Heavenly Dipper, with unrivaled combat prowess. But how could one be unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper? Everyone knew that in order to step into celestial phenomenon, one had to first comprehend a true intent of their mandates before they could break through to celestial phenomenon. However, there were many existences whose innate talent and combat prowess were exceedingly high, and they had comprehended a true intent of their mandates but had yet to break through to celestial phenomenon. Lu Lan was precisely such a character. This time around, other than killing Qin Wentian, Di Shi also had another purpose, and that was to dominate the entire Heavenly Dipper realm. Although there were many characters like Lu Lan in the Royal Sacred Region, none of them were able to gain the recognition of the Royal Sacred Region, obtaining the title of unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper. Only a single person could be considered unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper. The others were all fake. If there were 2 of them, how could they be considered unrivaled? Di Shi, right now, he had such ambition, wanting to become the only existence in the Royal Sacred Region. Such ambition, his appetite was simply too great. Wanting to obtain the recognition of being unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper in the Royal Sacred Region was even more difficult compared to becoming one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses. There were simply too many demon-level characters in the Royal Sacred Region, and there were also too many who were stuck at the peak of Heavenly Dipper but had yet to break through to celestial phenomenon. Some of these people roamed the world, some hid in seclusion, seeking a breakthrough, and there were even some who had comprehended a few true intents of their mandates. Under such circumstances, other than those supreme geniuses who founded an era, who else could obtain the title of being unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper? Another silhouette walked out. This person was clad in golden battle armor, and his entire body was bathed in golden light. His eyes stared at Li Tian as his battle intent towered up into the heavens. The crown prince of radiant gold has arrived. Upon seeing this person, the countenances of many froze. This person was absent from the immortal martial realm, and it was said that he had a stroke of good fortune that allowed him to comprehend a true intent of his mandates. Now it was unknown how terrifying his true combat prowess was. In the direction of the war country, another silhouette stepped out. This person had a middle-aged appearance, looking to be around 40 years of age. He was a heaven chosen of the war country, and was also a disciple of one of the 9 great sects, the heaven-cleaving manner. His strength was so terrifying that it was rumored that he had also stepped into the unrivaled realm of Heavenly Dipper. Lu Lan and this heaven chosen from the war country, they didn't enter the immortal martial realm a few months ago. Their combat prowess was extremely high, but the immortal martial realm was a test of talent and potential. There were many older characters in the royal sacred region whose combat prowess was exceedingly high, but this didn't mean that they would choose to enter the immortal martial realm, because if their talent wasn't high enough, the immortal martial realm might just bury them. These characters already had a foot in the celestial phenomenon realm. Why would they still want to take the risk and enter? Only the 8 era-suppressing geniuses didn't have any fear. They had absolute confidence in their own talent. Although the immortal martial realm could bury geniuses, it wouldn't be able to bury them. This battle is getting more and more exciting. However, where did Disher's confidence come from? The hearts of the spectators trembled. Could it be that Disher had also comprehended a true intent of his mandate? If that was the case, Qin Wentian would definitely be in danger. Although Qin Wentian's talent was extremely high, his cultivation base was only at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper. If he wanted to fight against those unrivaled existences in Heavenly Dipper, his strength wouldn't be sufficient. Wentian, be careful of these people. They are all existences at the peak of Heavenly Dipper, who have comprehended a true intent of their mandates. Lin Shuai transmitted his voice to Qin Wentian. It's enough for you to fight against Disher. Even if you refused to fight against these people, no one would say anything about it. Qin Wentian's heart trembled. He felt an immense pressure gushing towards him. These people who came to the sacred battle platform today were all extremely terrifying. 9 people, very good. Disher swept his gaze over. Of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, there were 5 of them. In addition, there was Qin Wentian, Lu Lan from the Violet Thunder sect, the Crown Prince of Radiant Gold, and the Heaven Chosen of the War Country. 9 people, any one of them would be able to cause the crowd to tremble when they appeared. But today, all 9 of them walked up to the sacred battle platform at the same time. Since all of you have appeared, why don't we have a battle to decide everything? I suggest that all 9 of you enter the sacred battle platform at the same time. How about it? Disher's countenance sharpened as he spoke. The sacred battle platform could accommodate multiple people. Madman, why is Disher so crazy today? This Disher, why is he so confident? Could it be that his strength has already reached another level? Many people sighed in their hearts when they heard Disher's crazy words. Wentian, if all 9 of you enter the sacred battle platform at the same time, it means that the 9 of you will be directly fighting against each other. None of you can think about remaining unscathed. You have to take turns to fight. Be careful. Lin Shuai continued to transmit his voice to Qin Wentian. Such a battle was simply too dangerous. Qin Wentian's gaze froze once more. 9 people taking turns to fight against each other. Not only that, among these 9 people, there wasn't a single one he dared to say he could suppress. Any one of them had towering combat prowess. Disher's words instantly caused great waves of commotion. As for the remaining 8, did they dare to accept? Did Qin Wentian dare to accept? Qin Wentian. At this moment, Disher spoke again, staring in the direction of Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at him only to hear Disher coldly speaking. All 9 of you enter the sacred battle platform together. Let's make a pact first. If you don't die, I won't exit the sacred battle platform. If I don't die, you won't exit the platform. The hearts of the crowd trembled. This was a life and death battle. If one of them died, the other would be able to exit the sacred battle platform. Do you dare? Disher roared as his killing intent gushed forth. He was filled with lofty aspirations, wanting to slay the top ranker of the immortal martial realm today. Chapter 622. At this moment, Disher's overwhelming self-confidence made it seem as though Qin Wentian was already in his bag. He would die without a doubt. Wentian, be careful. This time around, the person you challenged is only Disher. You can just agree to fight against him alone. Duan Han transmitted his voice to Qin Wentian. This battle was too dangerous. Other than the 5 era-suppressing geniuses, the other 3 were all unrivaled existences in Heavenly Dipper who had comprehended a true intent. Although Qin Wentian's talent was outstanding, he was still lacking compared to these people. The gazes of everyone were focused on Qin Wentian. They were all very clear on how much pressure this top ranker of the immortal martial realm was facing right now. He only needed to endure for a year or 2 more and step into the 8th or 9th level of Heavenly Dipper. At that time it would be much easier for him to face such a situation. But after all, his foundation was still lacking. Wentian, beside the human emperor of Yi, Yi Lingshuang also transmitted her voiceover, feeling somewhat worried. Mo Qingqing's hands were clenched tightly. Her palms were covered in sweat, and traces of worry could be seen on her beautiful face. However, she didn't say anything. She didn't want to give Qin Wentian any pressure. Moon's beautiful eyes also turned over. She didn't expect Di Shi to be so arrogant. Even if Qin Wentian's magnificence was unmatched, if he accepted the challenge, he would still face a life-and-death crisis. What choice would he make? Qin Wentian's long hair fluttered in the wind. His demonic eyes stared at Di Shi. The sharpness in his eyes was even sharper than swords and sabers. He challenged Di Shi. If he was weaker than Di Shi, he would die. But if he was stronger than Di Shi, and Di Shi dared to face these people, how could he retreat? This battle was a battle of courage, a battle of conviction. The first time we met, you were incomparably arrogant. I killed your younger brother in front of you. The second time we met in the immortal martial realm, you were still as brazen as before, forced out of the top 10 by me. This is the third time you are still as arrogant and foolish as ever. In that case, the date of your death shall be today. Qin Wentian stared at Di Shi as he icily stated, I accept the challenge. As soon as Qin Wentian's voice faded, the crowd burst into an uproar. Qin Wentian accepted the challenge. Not only that, from Qin Wentian's tone, this Di Shi was truly pitiful. No wonder he hated Qin Wentian so much. The reason why he was ranked number 10 in the immortal martial realm was all thanks to Qin Wentian. From the looks of it, Di Shi's arrogance didn't seem to have any basis to back it up. After all, the previous 2 bloody lessons had been taught to him. The first 2 battles weren't real battles. Today, I will make you regret everything you've done. Di Shi icily spoke. After which, he turned his gaze onto the other 7 participants. Everyone, if there's anyone who doesn't dare to fight, you can withdraw now. If there's no one who wishes to do so, we shall set the rules of the battle. The 7 of them were all gathered around the sacred battle platform. Since they already stood out, how could they retreat? Since there's no one who wishes to withdraw, other than the battle between me and Qin Wentian, which is a life-and-death battle, the others can voluntarily concede and withdraw from the battlefield. How about it? Di Shi spoke again. I have no objections to the others, but between me and Qin Wentian, there's another agreement. A life-and-death battle. Lu Lan faintly spoke, his words causing Qin Wentian and the others to be startled. This Lu Lan actually wanted to kill Qin Wentian as well? Back then in Yi they heard that Qin Wentian and Yi Qingyan had a grudge with the Violet Thunder sect. It seemed like they were planning to borrow Lu Lan's hand to kill Qin Wentian. Despicable. Lu Lan, no matter what, you are someone from the same generation as me. To think that you actually want a life-and-death battle with my junior apprentice brother. Lin Shui mocked. If he doesn't dare to, he can reject. Lu Lan faintly spoke. I accept the challenge. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice, his words causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble. In this battle on the sacred battle platform, the pressure Qin Wentian was facing was simply too terrifying. Since none of you have any objections, let's enter the sacred battle platform. Di Shi emotionlessly spoke. In the depths of his eyes, an indiscernible cold light flickered. 9 people Qin Wentian. 5 era-suppressing geniuses. Di Shi, Li Tian Qi Lian, Fan Miaoyu Dongyue Hanjiang. 3 unrivaled characters in Heavenly Dipper. Lu Lan from the Violet Thunder sect. A prince from Radiant Gold. A disciple from the Heaven-Cleaving Manor. A genius from the war country Wu Tung. Such a terrifying lineup. When they all stepped onto the sacred battle platform, the hearts of the spectators trembled violently. Although the sacred battle platform was the most glorious battle platform in the royal sacred region, It was extremely rare to see such a lineup. At the level of Heavenly Dipper, it would be extremely difficult to surpass them. On the Sacred Battle platform, 9 stone platforms materialized out of thin air, supporting the bodies of the 9 participants. A screen of light flashed as the Sacred Battle platform was activated. Within it, there was a dimension that was even vaster than what the spectators could see. Even peak-level celestial phenomenon ascendants could be supported here. Who will be the first to fight? A voice rang out. The 9 stone platforms all shone with a dazzling light, enveloping the 9 participants within a screen of light. I will fight against Qin Wentian. Disher's eyes gleamed with an unparalleled loftiness as a terrifying aura erupted forth. The might of a peak 8th level Heavenly Dipper sovereign exuded an incomparably baleful aura. Behind him, the shadow of a fearsome primordial bird manifested, resembling a gigantic azure rock. His entire body glowed with an incomparably demonic green light, and the baleful aura radiating from his eyes seemed capable of slaying people. The 9 stone platforms revolved, while the other 7 retreated in 7 different directions. Only Disher's and Qin Wentian's stone platforms remained facing each other. The top ranker of the immortal martial realm is finally going to face off against the 8 era-suppressing geniuses? The spectators stared at the 2 on the Sacred Battle platform. Disher stepped out, resembling a supreme primordial bird of prey. Qin Wentian was similarly incomparably demonic. His bloodline power erupted forth as he executed the fiend transformation art. Behind him, the shadow of the golden rock manifested as the 2 of them clashed against each other. The baleful and tyrannical auras clashed against each other in the air, causing whistling sounds to echo out, terrifying to the extreme. Bz. A raging wind raged as Disher dashed towards Qin Wentian. His palms blasted out as a gigantic primordial bird of prey tore through the air towards Qin Wentian. Just a casual strike from him already had the might of a 9th level Heavenly Dipper sovereign. Qin Wentian stared at the incoming primordial bird. Lifting his palms, he blasted out with them as Disher's silhouette directly appeared in front of Qin Wentian. The gigantic primordial bird behind him let out a terrifying screech as a terrifying light flashed. Numerous primordial birds howled in rage as they dashed out at the same time, wanting to tear apart the void. Boom! Qin Wentian stepped out as his star-seizing palms swept over everything. Resplendent runes of light circulated around his body. Disher's speed was exceedingly fast, revolving around Qin Wentian at a high speed. Qin Wentian's golden body shone with a resplendent light as he roared in rage, transforming into a true golden-winged rock. His speed wasn't any slower than Disher's. The Qin primordial bird in Disher's palm collided in a frenzy, causing rumbling sounds to echo out unceasingly. The entire space was trembling violently. Such a battle deeply shocked the spectators, especially those at the peak of Heavenly Dipper. They discovered that if they were to face such a ferocious attack, they wouldn't be able to withstand it at all. Ordinary characters at the 9th level of Heavenly Dipper would be easily torn apart by such an attack. The battle between the 2 towered up into the sky, and after which, the spectators saw numerous doppelgangers appearing on the Sacred Battle platform. Regardless of Disher or Qin Wentian, both of them seemed to have cultivated a similarly powerful secret art, able to transform into many doppelgangers. Those who were more attentive would discover that Qin Wentian had more doppelgangers compared to Disher. Although this was just a small detail, it caused the hearts of many to tremble. This indicated that Qin Wentian's comprehension abilities were stronger than Disher's. Bang! An intense collision rang out as the 2 of them separated. Everything returned to its original state. Disher floated in the air, staring at Qin Wentian's silhouette as he icily spoke. I'm merely testing you. Is your strength only at this level? In that case, I will be taking your life next. After speaking, a terrifying blood-colored light circulated around Disher's body. Beams of blood-colored light shot up to the skies as his astral souls and astral novas appeared behind him. An incomparably gigantic primordial bird, an azure rock, appeared behind him. Its baleful eyes seemed to have a life of its own, resembling a demonic bird from the supreme ancient immortal realms. Bz. A supremely powerful destructive energy gushed forth from Disher. At this instant, Disher became even more dangerous. The mandate of demons at the perfection boundary, the mandate of corrosion at the perfection boundary, and there seems to be a type of strengthening type will as well. Qin Wentian stared at the dangerous Dishur right now. Within that azure light, a terrifying corrosive might could be sensed. Was this really Dishur's strongest state? He should still have a hidden will that he hasn't unleashed yet. The strengthened Dishur truly resembled a demonic bird from the supreme ancient immortal realms. His body transformed into a beam of light as he dashed out, his speed increasing. With a flick of his arms, the azure rock behind him radiated an incomparably terrifying azure light. Bang bang bang. Numerous incomparably terrifying ferocious birds transformed into streaks of azure light that frenziedly rushed towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered as he retreated, only to discover that his body seemed to have been frozen in place. There was an extremely powerful formless energy locking him down. This was a type of binding ability. Maybe this was the will of mandate that Dishur had never unleashed before. In the immortal martial realm, his hands and legs were tied, and he had no way to unleash the full power of one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses. But now he could finally unleash his full power without any restraints. Wentian. The countenances of the spectators who were concerned about Qin Wentian drastically changed. They stared at the terrifying primordial birds flying towards Qin Wentian, while Qin Wentian seemed to have been frozen in place. Every single era-suppressing genius has an extremely powerful ability. Dishur was naturally no exception. Seems like in terms of combat prowess, Dishur still has the advantage. Qin Wentian is a character that rose up through the generations. Would he be able to walk out of the sacred battle platform alive? Many people sighed in their hearts. If Qin Wentian lived, it meant that Dishur would die. Resplendent astral light circulated around Qin Wentian's body. His body gradually grew larger, and a glass-like luster radiated from him, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble. His long hair turned black, and even his robes were dyed black. The him right now was akin to a supreme demonic lord. Releasing the illusionary clone art, numerous Qin Wentian silhouettes appeared in that space, stacking together as they blasted out at the same time. The heavens and earth trembled, but Qin Wentian didn't retreat. Instead, he advanced, causing the entire space to tremble. I also want to see how you can take my life. Qin Wentian's silhouette was many times larger compared to Dishur. He lifted his palm and blasted it out, aiming for the azure rock. Chapter 623. At this moment, Qin Wentian's silhouette was gigantic, as though he had transformed into a fiend god. His palms shone with a towering astral light, suppressing the heavens and earth. Dishur and the gigantic azure rock behind him simultaneously executed incantations. Resplendent beams of light ravaged the space as a starry sky manifested. The battle between the two of them actually caused the shadow constellation to manifest. Such a scene was simply too shocking. The battle between two heavenly dipper sovereigns actually manifested the embryonic form of a constellation. Although it wasn't a true constellation, it was still enough to cause the hearts of the spectators to tremble. Bind him for me. Dishur roared in rage. Boundless azure light radiated from the azure rock, and in an instant, several demonic shadows manifested around Qin Wentian, capturing him. What ability is this? The hearts of the spectators pounded violently. Those demonic primordial beasts appeared from the void, locking onto Qin Wentian. The azure rock howled in rage, its eyes gleaming with a terrifying light. You can't escape death even if you want to, Dishur coldly spoke, stepping towards Qin Wentian, who was in the form of a supreme demonic lord. An era-suppressing heaven chosen, standing at the forefront of this era in the vast royal sacred region. How could he be an ordinary character? He wasn't someone ordinary geniuses could compare to. Although Dishur was incomparably arrogant, there was no need to doubt his combat prowess. If not, he wouldn't have obtained the title of era-suppressing heaven chosen. How powerful! The spectators sighed in their hearts. This was the reason why the 8 of them were considered era-suppressing geniuses. Before this, because Dishur was kicked out of the top 10 in the immortal martial realm, many people doubted him, feeling that Dishur wasn't worthy of such fame. But now, everyone understood that even if Dishur was ranked number 11 in the immortal martial realm, he was still Dishur, unexcelled in this world. Are you even worthy? Qin Wentian stared at Dishur. Abruptly, a formless sword might filled the entire space. In that instant, A third eye opened in the center of his brows as the great dream astral soul manifested behind him. Stepping down, the heavens and earth rumbled as the formless sword might transformed into something corporeal, penetrating through Dishur's body. In that instant, Dishur groaned in misery as his soaring figure abruptly slowed down. Bang! An unparalleled pressure gushed forth. Qin Wentian endured the terrifying binding force as he stepped out. At this instant, Dishur felt as though he was no longer on the sacred battle platform, but was in an independent world instead. The world Qin Wentian wanted him to enter was none other than the dream world created by Qin Wentian. Dream! Dishur's countenance turned ashen as he stared at the great dream's astral soul. He clearly knew that this was a dreamscape, yet he discovered that even with his powerful will, he had no way to break free. Qin Wentian had created this dreamscape for him. You can't fool me. Dishur howled in rage as the azure rock howled, locking down Qin Wentian. The power of the bloodline in Dishur's body grew even more violent. The bloodline of the primordial azure rock was wild and powerful, bestowing him with a unique power. There's no need for me to lie to you. This is my dream, a dream that will take your life. Feel it well. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, he soared through the air once more. Numerous silhouettes appeared beside Dishur. These silhouettes were incomparably gigantic, akin to nightmare demons, sealing off Dishur's path of escape. Each of them wielded a gigantic devil halberd in their hands as they stabbed towards Dishur. Everything is an illusion. Dishur's eyes gleamed with incomparable sharpness. Puchi! A series of crisp sounds rang out as the devil halberds pierced into Dishur's body. Arg! A howl of agony rang out. Dishur's countenance instantly turned as white as paper as his entire body convulsed in incomparable pain. Boom! Qin Wentian stepped down once more as another sword strike pierced into Dishur's heart, causing him to groan in misery as blood seeped out from the corners of his mouth. His countenance grew even paler than before. Such a scene caused the hearts of the spectators to be filled with incomparable shock. What was going on with Dishur? They didn't see a dream, they only saw Dishur himself trembling as he coughed out blood. They couldn't feel the pain Dishur was enduring. They didn't know how realistic and terrifying the dreamscape was. Dreamforce, he's trapped in a dreamscape. Someone exclaimed in shock. The countenances of many from the Supreme D clan changed. Although Dishur knew it was a dream, in truth he was still trapped in a dreamscape. Qin Wentian's dreamscape was simply too tyrannical. Only Qin Wentian himself understood that this wasn't considered tyrannical. Back then he experienced a life of despair in a single dream. Only such a dreamscape could be considered tyrannical. This technique was the great dream immortal art. It was a dream creation technique he cultivated in the stone monument. In his dreamscape he could cause people to feel pain and despair. Dishur, your death date has arrived. Qin Wentian icily spoke to Dishur, his words causing Dishur's countenance to turn incredibly unsightly to behold. His death date? That devil halberd continued twisting and turning in his body, wanting him to die in agony. Qin Wentian is so powerful as well. The spectators outside the sacred battle platform were all stunned. For this battle between the 9 of them, each of them had incomparably powerful trump cards. The intensity of the battle would definitely surpass their imaginations. Qin Wentian walked towards Dishur. His palms glowed with resplendent astral light as a fearsome destructive might gushed forth. Abruptly, his silhouette flickered as he slammed his palm towards Dishur's head. In that instant, an incomparably gigantic star-seizing palm imprint blasted out, capable of crushing the heavens and earth. Go to hell! Dishur abruptly inclined his head, his gaze incomparably resolute. The azure light radiating from him was so bright that no one dared to look at him directly. An azure rock appeared in the air, directly tearing apart Qin Wentian's body. In that instant, a destructive might ravaged Qin Wentian's body. Die for me! Dishur howled in rage. The dreamscape was shattered. This sudden change caused everyone to feel a sense of numbness. Impudent! The human emperor of Yi Qingyun stepped out as he roared. A resplendent light shone from him. Dishur actually borrowed the power of an external object? Why didn't the sacred battle platform kill him immediately? That isn't an external object. Right now, it has already fused together with Dishur, becoming one with him. In addition, even if it's an external object, it isn't a divine weapon. An expert from the Supreme D clan calmly spoke, his words causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble violently. Only now did they understand that D-Shur might have borrowed the power of some mysterious energy to erupt forth with such overwhelming might. No wonder he was so confident. So it turned out that his strength had grown even stronger. Those from the Supreme D clan said that this object had fused together with D-Shur. What exactly was it that fused together with D-Shur? Was Qin Wentian going to die? Emo Qingqing's hands were tightly clenched as her countenance paled. She slowly walked out, moving forward. The countenances of those from the Battle Sword sect were extremely unsightly to behold. A character like Qin Wentian had appeared in their Battle Sword sect. How could they be willing to see him die in such a battle? Everyone's hearts tightened. The power D-Shur unleashed most probably had already reached the level of being unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper. No wonder he dared to challenge the strongest heaven chosen in the royal sacred region, wanting to fight for the title of being unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper. At this moment, on the sacred battle platform, Qin Wentian manifested several incarnations as towering runic light circulated around him. With a roar of rage, his palms slammed downwards, forming a gigantic palm imprint that blotted out the skies. The destructive might of the palm imprint blasted the two of them backwards. Pooh! Qin Wentian and D-Shur both coughed out a mouthful of blood. Qin Wentian's countenance was incredibly unsightly to behold. His aura fluctuated wildly, indicating that he was heavily injured. He stared at D-Shur as he stated, "This power doesn't belong to you. It's already been infused into my body. Now it belongs to me." D-Shur's eyes flashed with incomparable savagery as he stared at Qin Wentian. In addition, that basically doesn't belong to the category of divine weapons. Qin Wentian, if I don't die on the sacred battle platform, you are not allowed to exit it. Today you will die for sure. Nobody can stop me from killing you. Do the rules allow this? Qin Wentian stared in the direction of the sacred battle platform. Yes. A voice replied. Seeing that Qin Wentian didn't die even after such an attack, the hearts of the spectators were all filled with shock. Earlier, Qin Wentian's explosive strength was simply too overwhelming. He actually managed to block D-Shur's ultimate attack. In that case, medicinal pills shouldn't belong to the category of divine weapons. Qin Wentian faintly spoke. After which, he took out a few jars of medicinal pills, causing the spectators to be dumbfounded when they saw this. Qin Wentian selected a jar and swallowed a few medicinal pills. Very swiftly, his aura began to rise, returning to its peak state. After which, under the shocked gazes of the spectators, Qin Wentian took out another jar of medicinal pills and swallowed them, causing his injuries to rapidly recover. Having a fifth-ranked alchemist as a girlfriend is truly powerful. The hearts of the spectators were sweating profusely. Only now did they remember that the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley was a fifth-ranked alchemist. Given her relationship with Qin Wentian, how many precious medicinal pills would she give to Qin Wentian? In any case, if they couldn't kill Qin Wentian in a single breath, even if he was heavily injured, he would still be able to recover in a short period of time. But the others wouldn't have such conditions. This battle hasn't ended yet. Earlier, the strength D-Shur erupted forthwith was too terrifying. What exactly did he mean by blood sacrifice? Just now, it felt like a true supreme primordial beast. The hearts of the spectators trembled. Qin Wentian was truly terrifying and extremely dangerous. Since there's no victor or loser in this battle, and you have recovered using medicinal pills, I shall fight against you next. At this moment, Lu Lan stared at Qin Wentian, her countenance ice-cold. D-Shur didn't say anything. He was also injured and needed some time to recover. Earlier, he sensed that Qin Wentian was at his peak, erupting forth with extraordinary strength. Qin Wentian also had his own trump cards, and in addition, Qin Wentian had already recovered to his peak state. In that case, it would be best for him to wait until he was at his peak state before killing Qin Wentian. Taking turns to wear him down? Unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper? Just nice. I also want to see how strong the will of a mandate is. Qin Wentian stared at Lu Lan as he arrogantly spoke. The battle intent in his eyes towered up to the heavens. He didn't know what fear was. Since he accepted the challenge today, he wanted to experience how strong the combat prowess of his opponents were. Only under such overwhelming pressure would he be able to push himself to his limits, allowing him to advance a step further. This step, be it one's cultivation base or one's true intent. On the sacred battle platform, only by directly facing experts who had comprehended a true intent would one be able to sense the power of a true intent in the most profound manner. The stone platforms rotated as Dishir's platform retreated, while Lu Lan and Qin Wentian's platforms moved forward, facing each other. Qin Wentian is a battle maniac. At the start he was handsome and radiant, giving off a sense of tranquility. Who would have thought that he would be so violent when he fights? No wonder he has such accomplishments, the top ranker of the immortal martial realm. What is his limit? Many mused in the hearts of the spectators. Lu Lan's silhouette was already moving towards Qin Wentian. Abruptly, Qin Wentian felt a heaven-annihilating energy enveloping this entire space. It felt as though his body was about to explode into pieces. Unceasing bolts of lightning rained down on his body. Yet Qin Wentian was like an immortal fiend god of war. His gigantic frame stood unmoving in the space between the heavens and earth. Chapter 624. At this moment Qin Wentian stood there, feeling shock in his heart. The lightning unceasingly blasted onto his body. The destructive might, the tyrannical attacks, the terrifying lightning net. All of these were the will of the mandate of lightning. Once one comprehended the true intent of the mandate, all of these would be infused into one's mandate, causing the might of one's attacks to explosively increase by an unknown amount. Just by standing there, Qin Wentian could already feel the pressure from the lightning. If Qin Wentian was just an ordinary 7th-level Heavenly Dipper sovereign, Lu Lan would be able to kill him with ease. At this moment, Qin Wentian only saw Lu Lan's palms clasped together with terrifying arcs of lightning. His entire body was bathed in the tyrannical power of lightning, causing crackling sounds to echo in the air. A terrifying destructive might gushed forth with Lu Lan at the center. At this moment his body was the center of the lightning. Anyone who got close to him would die. Qin Wentian, who had comprehended the true intent of lightning, even if he didn't focus on defense, his own true intent of lightning would be able to substitute offense for defense. Boom! Lu Lan stepped out, resembling a god of lightning as he walked towards Qin Wentian. His violet eyes flickered with a terrifying killing intent as he blasted out with his palms. Instantly, that sphere of lightning erupted forth as a gigantic lightning palm imprint directly shot towards Qin Wentian. The palm imprint unceasingly radiated lightning, interweaving into a gigantic lightning net that directly coiled around Qin Wentian's body. It was as though the only thing waiting for Qin Wentian was destruction. Is this the power of true intent? The true intent of lightning can actually contain the power of entanglement within? The spectators around the sacred battle platform stared at the battlefield. The intensity of this battle had already far surpassed their imaginations. Qin Wentian's body resembled that of a fiend god as he stepped out. His entire body circulated with resplendent light, as though he was clad in astral armor. Lifting his palms, he blasted out a palm strike in the air. The destructive star-seizing palm imprint contained an incomparably tyrannical destructive might, clashing against the gigantic palm imprint that was radiating boundless lightning. A thunderous sound rang out as Qin Wentian's palm imprint was shattered into pieces. The power of the violet thunder true intent contained a powerful destructive might within it. Although the power Qin Wentian could unleash now was already extremely terrifying, Lu Lan was at the peak of Heavenly Dipper and had comprehended the true intent of lightning. Not only that, he was also a supreme expert from the Violet Thunder sect. How could his attacks be weak? A terrifying light flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes. He transformed into a million clones and blasted out a star-seizing palm imprint at the same time, destroying everything. However, at this moment, Lu Lan had already appeared above Qin Wentian's head. The true intent of lightning in his body coalesced into a fearsome sword of light as he slashed downwards, so blinding that the spectators couldn't even open their eyes. This sword of light was like a bolt of lightning, slicing apart the skies. Its speed was so fast that no one could react in time. Bang! Astral light erupted as the stellar transposition was activated. Qin Wentian's silhouette transformed into a series of afterimages, but the sword of light was still imbued with a blazing heat. Swishing sounds rang out as the sword of light slashed downwards, directly lacerating Qin Wentian's skin. The destructive might of the sword of light left behind a long trail of blood. The power of a true intent could completely break through his defenses, directly injuring Qin Wentian. Is this what it means to be unrivaled in the heavenly Dipper realm? Those who have comprehended a true intent and those who haven't are on a completely different level in terms of attack power. Qin Wentian sighed in his heart. Earlier, if that sword of light had landed on him, his body would have been directly cleaved into two. Lu Lan didn't give Qin Wentian any chance to recover. He was proficient in the mandate of wind at the perfection boundary. His speed was as fast as lightning as he slashed out yet another sword strike towards Qin Wentian. The tip of the sword of light actually glowed with a terrifying white light, directly arcing through the skies towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian retreated explosively once more. With a thunderous boom, the sword of light directly shattered as the chaotic currents of destruction left behind several wounds on Qin Wentian's body. Is there any use in fleeing? Lu Lan stood in the air, staring at Qin Wentian. The lightning and thunder around him grew even more violent, as though it could destroy everything. Qin Wentian manifested several silhouettes, each of them radiating an extremely powerful sword might. Qin Wentian's original body was the center of this sword might. There was an ancient monument in the immortal martial realm that contained the power of swords. Just like the current Qin Wentian, although there were no swords around him, he seemed to contain a boundless amount of sword might. Boom! The numerous silhouettes all stepped out at the same time. In that instant, resplendent runes of light appeared in the air. Each and every rune transformed into a resplendent sword that contained an extremely powerful killing intent. Lu Lan furrowed his brows. These sword runes were like divine weapons. They actually contained a terrifying destructive might within. This by itself was already a peak tier 4th rank divine inscription, formed from the spiritual refinement method. Its destructive might was exceedingly strong, and earlier during the final moment of his battle against Di Shi, he had unleashed an immense amount of divine energy, causing both sides to suffer heavy injuries. Lu Lan's attacks were extremely powerful. If one wanted to kill him, they had to first defend against his attack, before using another attack to break through his defense. Qin Wentian took another step forward, causing Lu Lan's countenance to change. He felt a surge of sword intent directly penetrating through his body, piercing right into his heart. That sword intent was everywhere. The numerous illusory figures abruptly vanished. Such an innate technique couldn't be maintained forever, but to Qin Wentian it was already sufficient. Numerous sword imprints appeared in the air. That destructive might, in addition to the sword might radiating from Qin Wentian, was sufficient to cause people's hearts to tremble. Qin Wentian took a third step forward. As this step landed, Lu Lan groaned in misery. He suddenly had a feeling that Qin Wentian had used some sort of mystical ability to connect himself and Qin Wentian as one. It was as though everything here was under Qin Wentian's control. Every step he took was akin to a sharp sword piercing right into his heart. Qin Wentian also had a feeling that this was the true essence of the 7 Annihilations swordplay from the sword forest of Grand Xia. For those with great strength, they could transform flowers and leaves into swords to injure their opponents. For truly powerful sword cultivators, they could even control formless qi, transforming them into tangible swords. At this moment, Qin Wentian's perception was pushed to the extreme. Just like the stone monument with a sword in his heart, the entire world seemed to be under his control. Qin Wentian suddenly thought of something. Although Lu Lan was proficient in the true intent of lightning, his mandate of swords was only at the perfection boundary. In fact, his attainments in the mandate of swords couldn't even be compared to Qin Wentian. Maybe Lu Lan had pursued the true intent of lightning too much. If Lu Lan's mandate of swords also stepped into the true intent level, how strong would the might of his lightning swords be? Most probably, it would be impossible for Qin Wentian to evade it. Lu Lan also felt a sense of danger. He once again launched an attack towards Qin Wentian. An incomparably resplendent gigantic lightning sword arced through the air, slashing towards Qin Wentian. However, Qin Wentian merely waved his hands, causing the sword imprints to howl in rage, colliding with the gigantic lightning sword and exploding in a frenzy. Qin Wentian continuously stepped out, causing Lu Lan to groan unceasingly as his heart pounded. Although he had comprehended the true intent of his mandate, he had no idea how to deal with such an attack. Busy. Lu Lan rushed out once more as his astral nova appeared. Behind him a god of lightning manifested, dancing with lightning and thunder, wanting to kill Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's physique was gigantic. He once again executed the phantom clone art, causing numerous gigantic fiend gods to materialize at the same time. After which, he blasted out palm imprints that blasted towards Lu Lan. Lu Lan abruptly halted his steps. With a howl of rage, the lightning and thunder around him transformed into countless lightning swords. After which a gigantic palm imprint the size of a mountain appeared out of nowhere, smashing towards him. Thunderous rumbling sounds echoed unceasingly. Although these attacks were powerful, they had no way to break through the defense of his opponent's true intent of lightning. Qin Wentian continued walking forward, his sword intent penetrating through the hearts of others. When his seventh step landed, Lu Lan felt as though his heart was being pierced by 10,000 swords as blood flowed from the corners of his mouth. Lu Lan stepped into the unrivaled realm of Heavenly Dipper and comprehended the true intent of his mandate. However, his methods were still inferior when compared to the error-suppressing genius Dishur. This was the disparity between error-suppressing geniuses. If Dishur had Lu Lan's cultivation base and the true intent of his mandate, Qin Wentian would have no way to contend against him. But even so, although Qin Wentian was able to injure Lu Lan, he wasn't able to kill him. Qin Wentian understood that he was still lacking a little bit. Only by taking that final step would he be able to kill Lu Lan. They're evenly matched. Even Qin Wentian managed to injure Lu Lan. The spectators outside sighed in admiration. The two of them continued their violent battle, and very swiftly both of them were injured. However, neither of them were able to kill the other, and ultimately they could only give up. Qin Wentian was actually still at a disadvantage. He had many methods and could use innate techniques that were stronger than Lu Lan, but the amount of energy he expended was also extremely great. His cultivation base was clearly 2 levels lower compared to Lu Lan, yet he was still able to persist for so long, causing many to sigh in admiration. Qin Wentian understood that in the face of a disparity of 2 levels, if he didn't have the support of 4 Yuanfu, it was basically impossible for him to continue such a high-intensity battle. I'm still not strong enough. This battle is a rare opportunity. I need to grow stronger. Qin Wentian sat on the stone platform and closed his eyes, quietly contemplating the 2 battles earlier. The other 8 participants on the sacred battle platform were all peak-tier Heavenly Dipper sovereigns of the Royal Sacred Region. Although they were all enemies now, such an opportunity was extremely rare, and he had to grasp it well. At this moment Dishur's murderous gaze was fixed on him, yet he didn't seem to notice it. With the medicinal pills Mo Qingqing gave him, as long as he didn't die, he would be able to continue battling. The top ranker of the immortal martial realm, Qin Wentian. If he can exit the sacred battle platform alive this time around, he would surely create a piece of history. Many people sighed in admiration. Fighting against Dishur and Lu Lan with a cultivation base at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper. Such combat prowess was simply unimaginable. Next, that prince from Radiant Gold ancient country sought out Li Tian and fought a great battle. As one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, Li Tian was actually suppressed because not only was his opponent's strength extraordinary, he had also comprehended the true intent of the mandate of metal. Li Tian himself was also pursuing the pinnacle of the mandate of metal, and in this aspect, he was suppressed by his opponent. However, Li Tian relied on his overwhelming strength and didn't concede. After that, Qin Wentian actually took the initiative to challenge the Prince of Radiant Gold ancient country, and their battle shook the heavens and earth. Qin Wentian's strength was inferior by a notch. The Prince of Radiant Gold ancient country also had no way to kill him. What is he trying to do? Is he using this opportunity to temper his combat prowess? Someone in the crowd saw through Qin Wentian's thoughts, as shock filled their hearts. Chapter 625. On the sacred battle platform, the battles continued unceasingly. In the blink of an eye, night had already descended. Today, Qin Wentian experienced a total of 3 battles. Against Dishur, against Lu Lan, and against the Crown Prince of Radiant Gold. He seemed to be at a disadvantage in all 3 battles, yet he was still undefeated. After that, Dishur challenged him a few more times but was rejected by Qin Wentian. He could reject the challenge because right now, the sacred battle platform was a system of 9 battles. Unless everyone had fought against each other, he would have no choice but to accept the challenge. As long as there was someone who hadn't fought against each other, he could choose not to accept the challenge. Qin Wentian didn't accept the challenge because he was focused on comprehending the true intent of lightning and comprehending the true intent of metal from the Crown Prince of Radiant Gold. Today, Li Tian fought against Dongyue Hanjiang. Li Tian had the upper hand, but he had no way to suppress Dongyue Hanjiang and force him to concede. The disparity in strength wasn't too great. Fan Miaoyu fought against Wu Teng from the battle country before. Initially, the spectators thought that Fan Miaoyu, who was at the 9th level of Heavenly Dipper, would have the ability to defeat Wu Teng. However, they discovered that Wu Teng didn't seem to be at a disadvantage at all. Not only that, his axe technique seemed to be suppressing Fan Miaoyu, causing many to sigh in admiration. This heaven chosen from the heaven-cleaving manor and battle country was truly too powerful, exceeding the expectations of the spectators. Fan Miaoyu fought against the Crown Prince of Radiant Gold as well as Lu Lan. The spectators could sense that this era-suppressing genius was already extremely close to comprehending the true intent of her mandate. She was the same as Qin Wentian, using battle to nurture herself, allowing her strength to evolve. After fighting for an entire day, the spectators discovered that the 9 participants on the sacred battle platform were still there. Although there was a clear disparity in their strength, none of them had admitted defeat. Rest for a night, we will fight again tomorrow when the sun rises, a voice rang out. However, the sacred battle platform was still sealed. As long as the battle hadn't ended, the 9 of them wouldn't be able to leave the sacred battle platform. The spectators all relaxed a little, but their hearts weren't calm at all. In fact, they were so shocked that they felt numb. Father, what do you think of this battle? Yi Lingshuang stood beside the human emperor Yi Qingyun as she asked. Given Yi Qingyun's judgment, he should be able to see the situation more clearly than her. The majority of the 9 of them all have their own thoughts. Some of them clearly had the ability to eliminate their opponents, yet they chose not to do so. This is especially so for Wu Teng and Fan Miaoyu. Both of them aren't simple at all. They probably haven't unleashed their full combat prowess yet. After all, Fan Miaoyu is one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses and her cultivation base is at the peak of Heavenly Dipper. I don't really believe that she hasn't comprehended a true intent of the mandate. As for Wu Teng, he's even more powerful than the rumors say. Yi Qingyun slowly spoke, his words causing Yi Lingshuang's beautiful eyes to freeze. Father, are you saying that Fan Miaoyu intentionally went easy on her opponent? Why would she do that? Even for Fan Miaoyu, it's extremely difficult for her to find 8 opponents of this level. It's extremely difficult even in the entire royal sacred region. Fan Miaoyu might have comprehended a type of true intent, but it's obvious that there's still room for her to grow stronger. Hence, she naturally needs to make use of this level of combat to perfect herself. If I were to encounter an evenly matched opponent, I would also want to battle a few more times, Yi Qingyun replied. In that case, Wentian. Yi Lingshuang was somewhat worried. Wentian is indeed on the weaker side. After all, he's at a disadvantage in terms of cultivation base. But luckily, he has many techniques up his sleeves, and if we talk about the absolute combat prowess he can display, he might even be above Qi Lian, Dongyue Hanjiang or Li Tian. However, Di Shi seems to have some unique methods, and Lu Lan, who has comprehended the true intent of lightning, is also extremely difficult to deal with. But there's no need to worry. Even if they really want to kill Wentian, it wouldn't be so easy. Fan Miaoyu and Wu Teng have the strength to threaten Wentian's life, but they don't have any killing intent towards him. Yi Qingyun analyzed. Yi Lingshuang nodded her head lightly. Everyone was whispering to each other, discussing how the ending of this battle would be. Among the 9 supreme geniuses of the royal sacred region, which one of them had unparalleled combat prowess? On the morning of the 2nd day, as the sun rose, several people on the sacred battle platform opened their eyes. Dongyue Hanjiang was the first to speak. His gaze turned to Wu Teng of War Country as he spoke. Wu Teng, how about I fight against you? Wu Teng opened his eyes and stared at Dongyue Hanjiang as he calmly replied. You are still not my opponent. His tone was extremely calm, yet the confidence within it caused Dongyue Hanjiang to feel as though he was being humiliated. An unsightly expression flickered on his face as he stared at Wu Tong. I really want to see what qualifications you have to be so arrogant. Since you want to exit so badly, let me grant you your wish. Wu Tong stood up as the stone platform the two of them were sitting on began to revolve, moving to the center of the sacred battle platform. Dongyue Hanjiang stepped out. With a lift of his hand, a terrifying suppressive might bore down from the heavens. However, Wu Tong casually raised his hand as an axe appeared in the air, slashing out. In just an instant, Dongyue Hanjiang's attack was directly split into two, forcibly breaking apart. The true intent of the axe. The axe in Wu Tong's hand seems to have a spirit of its own. Dongyue Hanjiang attacked once more, his astral nova erupting forth as a surge of suppressive might gushed forth. However, Wu Tong still stood there, brandishing the axe in his hands. Although his movements were simple, it gave off a feeling of returning to simplicity. Every time the axe chopped down, everything he struck would be like rotten wood, directly cleaved into two. Simple, direct, not wasting any energy at all. Although the true intent of the axe Wu Tong comprehended wasn't as magnificent as Lu Lan's true intent of lightning, it was more practical. Dongyue Hanjiang was enraged as he frenziedly attacked. However, Wu Tong didn't seem to be angry at all. He continued to cleave out beams of axe light in an ordinary manner. Although his movements appeared simple, and even appeared to be somewhat slow in reality, those beams of axe light were all executed in an instant and were incomparably accurate. The axe light grew stronger and stronger, and at the end, the spectators discovered to their horror that a terrifying gigantic silhouette had appeared in the air. It was as though there was a supreme being wielding a heaven-splitting great axe in its hands, and as Wu Tong's axe slashed down, a crisp sound rang out. Dongyue Hanjiang didn't even have the time to shout the word, concede, before one of his arms was chopped off. It was as simple as chopping a tree. I concede. Dongyue Hanjiang's entire body was drenched in cold sweat. Earlier, as long as Wu Tong willed it, that axe strike could have taken his life. How powerful! The hearts of the spectators trembled. Wu Tong had finally made his voice heard. In the first battle he severed Dongyue Hanjiang's arm, and he even had the strength to kill Dongyue Hanjiang. He was simply too powerful. This was a demon-level character who had been hiding his strength all this while. Although Wu Tong's age was on the older side, he was still a late bloomer. Such combat prowess was truly terrifying. True intent of mandates. Perhaps it's a type of returning to one's natural state. Qin Wentian mused. Wu Tong's axe light seemed to have awakened him. Before this, he had sensed Lu Lan's true intent of lightning and metal. His attacks were simply too magnificent. The true intent of lightning contained all sorts of mandates, but why was it that Lu Lan's attacks were inferior to Wu Tong's? This was similar to two people who had comprehended the same mandate. Their comprehension would be different, and the strength of their mandates would also be different. Wu Tong's comprehension towards the true intent of mandates was slightly deeper. Qin Wentian thought of the sword comprehension grass hut. From the 15th to the 21st sword strike, the true intent of these 7 swords was truly returning to one's natural state. When the true intent of wind was present, one wouldn't be able to see the mandate of wind within the swords. The cultivation level of the sword comprehension grass hut was even higher than Wu Tong's cultivation level. As for Lu Lan and the prince from Radiant Gold, they should belong to the weakest cultivation level. When they used their true intent, even the mandates contained within were extremely clear and distinct. It was extremely easy to see through them. At this moment, Qin Wentian suddenly had a flash of comprehension. After yesterday's battle, he couldn't find an answer no matter how hard he thought about it. But now he was suddenly enlightened. Staring at Wu Tong's axe light, he thought back to the sword comprehension grass hut. However, this flash of comprehension didn't mean that he had truly comprehended his own mandate. It still depended on his comprehension ability. Being able to gain enlightenment from observing the battle of others, this indicated that Qin Wentian's comprehension ability was already extremely high. After all, there were countless experts from the various major powers who were proficient in true intent. But who could say that they would be able to gain enlightenment just by observing their true intent? Even if they did, who could guarantee that they would be able to comprehend their own true intent? Everything depended on the individual. At this moment, it all depended on Qin Wentian himself. He wanted to see if he could use this flash of comprehension to break through to the next level. Qin Wentian, why are you still not coming out to die? Di Shi roared at Qin Wentian after seeing Wu Teng retreating after defeating Dongyue Hanjiang. Qin Wentian closed his eyes, ignoring Di Shi. Everyone has already fought a round. You won't be able to escape even if you want to. Even if you don't die, you will still die. Di Shi spoke again. Who? Qin Wentian drew in a deep breath. Di Shi's voice was like a thunderclap, directly blasting into his mind. This made him understand that it was impossible for him to cultivate in peace. Di Shi wanted his life so badly. Opening his eyes, Qin Wentian's eyes flickered with a dazzling light. Standing up, the power of his blood thrummed as his body expanded in size. A resplendent luster circulated around him as the yuanfu in his body also started to rumble. Boom! From Di Shi's body, a terrifying aura capable of annihilating the heavens and earth abruptly erupted forth. Behind him, the silhouette of a primordial azure rock appeared. That wasn't an astral soul. Nor was it an astral nova. Di Shi's entire body shone with a towering azure light. As numerous runic lights flickered, so resplendent. A raging wind gusted by as Di Shi's silhouette directly vanished. The shadow of the azure rock howled in rage as a terrifying energy directly bound Qin Wentian's body. The spectators saw numerous runic lights appearing around Qin Wentian, each of them resembling an azure rock, grabbing hold of Qin Wentian's body. You still want to live? Di Shi roared. Stretching out his palms, the terrifying runic lights directly exploded on Qin Wentian's body. Qin Wentian countered with a fearsome attack, yet his attack was directly nullified. The runic lights exploded on his body, instantly ripping open a bloody wound, wanting to tear his body apart as fresh blood flowed out. Borrowing the power of the azure rock? Qin Wentian mumbled. Di Shi must have used some sort of secret technique, causing his body to undergo a transformation, allowing him to borrow the power of the azure rock. Power, the omnipresent power, Qin Wentian murmured. Di Shi floated in the air, staring down at him with a murderous look in his eyes. I will kill you slowly, allowing you to enjoy the process. Di Shi's countenance was extremely malevolent. He actually needed to use such a trump card before he could kill Qin Wentian. Another attack blasted out. Resplendent treasured light flashed, resembling a towering azure rock that directly shot towards Qin Wentian. Runic lights illuminated the skies as the attack instantly descended. Qin Wentian's body seemed to have no aura at all. He lifted his palms and blasted out with them. Boom! An incomparably deafening explosion rang out. This time around, although Di Shi's attack managed to force Qin Wentian back, it didn't have the same effect as earlier. Not only that, Qin Wentian's body was no longer restricted. He floated in the air, staring at Di Shi with a strange expression in his eyes. Di Shi frowned, but an instant later, his killing intent flared up once again. Struggling on the brink of death, as the sound of his voice faded, a formless energy gushed forth. He abruptly felt a terrifying force acting on his body, after which Qin Wentian lifted his palms and blasted out. Di Shi's attack had only just been launched when he felt a mountain-toppling and sea-overturning force pressing down on him. With a thunderous boom, his attack was directly shattered, and after which that towering might slammed into his body. Bang! Di Shi's body was directly forced backwards as he groaned in misery. An expression of astonishment appeared on his face as he stared at Qin Wentian, only to see that Qin Wentian's eyes were still flickering with a strange emotion. The way Qin Wentian looked at him seemed to be filled with a hint of mockery. Chapter 626. This strike caused Di Shi to sober up a little. Staring at the mocking expression on Qin Wentian's face, he couldn't help but feel astonished. Qin Wentian had comprehended a true intent? Very swiftly, Di Shi's countenance turned malevolent. A raging wind howled as a baleful aura towered up into the skies. He had to kill Qin Wentian before Qin Wentian could familiarize himself with the true intent of his mandate. A hurricane gusted up on the sacred battle platform, as the azure light transformed into an incomparably fearsome azure rocks, tearing towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian stepped out. This time around, his steps were filled with even more power, causing the space around him to tremble. His body seemed to be even more agile than before. This was a sign that his control over his strength had become even more perfect. Di Shi, on the other hand, could feel a heavy and terrifying pressure bearing down on him. Qin Wentian blasted out a sky-rending palm imprint that could shatter Di Shi's attack head-on. True intent. Although I know that it's returning to one's original state, my proficiency in using true intent can't be compared to Wu Tang's. Knowing is one thing, but using it myself is another. Qin Wentian's heart was as clear as a mirror. He unceasingly clashed with Di Shi in the air, unleashing powerful attacks, causing violent shockwaves to engulf the heavens and earth. While Qin Wentian was fighting, he was also familiarizing himself with the feeling of the true intent of his mandate. After a few more moments, Qin Wentian's attacks were no longer as ferocious as before. However, he was able to deal with Di Shi with greater ease. After a single clash, the two of them separated. Di Shi's countenance had already turned incomparably malevolent. Qin Wentian stretched out his hands as a mortal-ranked ancient halberd appeared in his hands. Even if he didn't borrow divine weapons, he would still be able to borrow ordinary weapons. The blood in Qin Wentian's body was akin to that of a fiend celestial. Wielding the ancient halberd in his hand, he exuded a tyrannical aura. A terrifying light circulated within the ancient halberd. Di Shi once again launched an attack towards Qin Wentian. The talons of an azure rock tore apart the heavens and earth, exuding a towering might. However, before the talons fully erupted, the ancient halberd in Qin Wentian's hands abruptly exploded outwards, colliding with the talons. With a thunderous boom, the talons were directly shattered into pieces. Di Shi's countenance was incredibly unsightly to behold. He revolved around Qin Wentian with extreme speed as resplendent light flashed unceasingly. However, Qin Wentian simply stood there with his eyes closed. He struck out with his ancient halberd again and again, and no matter how fast Di Shi's attacks were, Qin Wentian could easily neutralize them. Qin Wentian has comprehended a true intent of his mandate. Comprehending a true intent at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper, how monstrous. Is he using Di Shi to temper his own true intent? Although Di Shi seems to have the initiative, he can't threaten Qin Wentian at all. Qin Wentian is completely using the true intent of his mandate to attack. Many people were shocked, even those ascendants of the older generation were stunned. Qin Wentian's comprehension ability was too terrifying. In the blink of an eye, he had already surpassed the initial level of his true intent, allowing it to mature. Di Shi's countenance turned malevolent as he frenziedly attacked. However, Qin Wentian didn't seem to be angered at all. He was leisurely and unhurriedly replying to his attacks, giving Di Shi the feeling that Qin Wentian was using him as a practice target. This caused Di Shi to feel a sense of humiliation, a naked humiliation. In truth, although Qin Wentian was improving, he wasn't as strong as what everyone imagined. Right now, when he was using the true intent of his mandate, he had yet to fuse it into his other attacks. It was clearly unrealistic to say that he could directly suppress Di Shi the moment he comprehended it. But as he continued to improve, he discovered that he was getting more and more proficient at using it. True intent, returning to one's natural state, following one's heart's desire, absolute control. Qin Wentian's perception of true intent grew stronger and stronger. The true intent of a mandate was actually a kind of control, following one's heart's desire, absolute control. For example, Wu Tang's true intent of axe. When he chopped down with his axe, it was as though his opponent was a block of wood. Qin Wentian's true intent of force was the application of energy. This kind of control should be even stronger than before. After comprehending the will of my mandate, my perception seems to have grown even more powerful. This is especially so for my perception of force. It's like I can easily control the energy in my surroundings, and can sense every single strand of energy from my opponent's innate techniques. Qin Wentian continued to familiarize himself with this kind of control. The reason why he could so easily neutralize Di Shi's attacks was because his perception had grown stronger. Just like at this moment, when Qin Wentian's ancient halberd collided with his opponent's palm imprint, he could sense every single strand of energy from his opponent's palm imprint. After which, he channeled his own energy into it, shattering the palm imprint with ease. Qin Wentian believed that when Wu Tang chopped down with his axe, Qin Wentian felt the same way as well. Di Shi finally halted his attacks. His body floated in the air as he coldly stared at Qin Wentian. He couldn't continue this battle any longer. He could already sense that Qin Wentian's control over the true intent of his mandate was growing stronger and stronger. "Didn't you want to kill me?" Qin Wentian stared at Di Shi as he asked. Di Shi's countenance turned ashen as he icily replied, "Truce? Truce?" Qin Wentian froze for a moment before a strange expression appeared on his face. "You want to fight just because you say so? You want a truce now? Wasn't this Di Shi a little too amusing? What do you want?" Di Shi's voice was as cold as ice. Qin Wentian laughed. He didn't reply. Wielding his ancient halberd, he took a few steps towards Di Shi. The resplendent light around him circulated frenziedly as his yuanfu rumbled. A layer of astral armor appeared on Qin Wentian's body, circulating with runic light. At this moment, Qin Wentian truly resembled a fiend god, unexcelled in the world. Busy. Numerous silhouettes of Qin Wentian appeared at the same time. This was none other than the illusionary clone art. These silhouettes all stepped out at the same time, stomping on Di Shi's heart. "I want to take your life," Qin Wentian coldly spoke. Taking another step out, the numerous silhouettes all rushed out at the same time, directly appearing in front of Di Shi. Numerous ancient halberds blasted out, each and every one of them containing the power to destroy the heavens and extinguish the earth. That power was unleashed to the extreme as a stifling pressure gushed towards Di Shi. A terrifying blood-colored light radiated from Di Shi's body, as the aura of an ancient azure rock gushed forth from him. After which, a true azure rock blasted out, bringing with it a blazing hot runic light as well as an indomitable force. This was an attack of despair. Countless ancient halberds directly pierced into the body of the azure rock, causing its body to explode and disintegrate. At this moment, Di Shi's body also transformed into numerous clones. With an explosive roar, he was like the king of all ferocious birds. Countless ferocious birds surrounded him, protecting him from the incoming attacks. At the same time, Di Shi retreated, wanting to increase the distance between him and Qin Wentian. Not good. Di Shi abruptly felt an overwhelming destructive energy gushing towards him. He used everything he had to defend, only to see the third eye of Qin Wentian staring at him. At this moment, a silhouette of Qin Wentian also appeared behind Di Shi, with an ancient halberd in his hands, wanting to pierce into his body. This is impossible. Di Shi's vision suddenly blurred. He discovered that his surroundings were filled with the silhouettes of Qin Wentian. Who was the real one? Who was the fake one? At this moment, his state of mind was in chaos as he fell into Qin Wentian's dreamscape. He no longer had the ability to differentiate between reality and illusion. Qi. An ancient halberd directly pierced through the center of Di Shi's brows. The ancient halberd that appeared out of the void was aimed directly at Di Shi. While Di Shi was trying to differentiate the real from the fake, the true killing blow was actually hidden in the void. At the instant the ancient halberd pierced into the center of Di Shi's brows, the entirety of his brain was completely destroyed. Di Shi's thoughts instantly ceased as he died on the spot. The other spectators on the sacred battle platform felt their hearts pounding violently when they saw this scene. Staring at the silhouette of Di Shi, they didn't dare to believe their own eyes. Although the two of them had already set the rule that only one of them could walk out of here alive, they still didn't dare to believe that Di Shi had truly died here. Di Shi's death was something they didn't dare to believe. Not only for them, the spectators outside felt the same way as well. Who were these two? One was a young man whose name shook the entire royal sacred region, the top ranker of the immortal martial realm. The halo of light radiating from him was comparable to Gu Lufeng back then. And the other was Di Shi, one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses. Although they knew that one of them would die, the impact it brought to them was too great, causing the spectators outside the sacred battle platform to fall silent. The gazes of everyone were focused on Qin Wentian. That devilishly handsome young man had shocked the world with a single feat, using his magnificence to rise up in the royal sacred region, becoming famous in the immortal martial realm. If the immortal martial realm was a test of one's potential, then today, he had slain Di Shi in front of everyone on the sacred battle platform. Nobody could deny that his rise was already unstoppable. Even the 8 era-suppressing geniuses had no way to obstruct his footsteps. This time around, Dishur came precisely for the sake of killing Qin Wentian. He had even prepared a powerful trump card for himself, yet he became the first one to die. This seemed to prove Qin Wentian's words. Every time they exchanged blows, Dishur would always be as arrogant as ever, but the one who would suffer in the end would always be him. This time around he finally lost his life. As one of the era-suppressing geniuses, after a short period of glory in the royal sacred region, another even more outstanding demon-level character stepped on his corpse, continuing to advance forward. In this generation, Qin Wentian became the first to kill an era-suppressing genius. This indicated that Qin Wentian was even more outstanding compared to the era-suppressing geniuses. He had the possibility to become the only one among the younger generation. As one of the 7 great clans, the eyes of the Supreme D clan at this moment were all bloodshot as their killing intent soared up into the sky. The twin geniuses of the Supreme D clan had both died in the hands of a single person. Dishur had died. Even now, they still had no way to accept this cruel reality. Not far away from the Supreme D clan were those from the Divine Weapon Academy. Moon, Shunjing and the rest all felt their hearts pounding wildly as they stared at that magnificent silhouette. He had actually killed Dishur. Chapter 627. On the sacred battle platform, Qin Wentian's ancient halberd swept out, pointing directly at Lu Lan. Lu Lan's heart trembled when he saw Dishur's death. Now that he saw Qin Wentian pointing his halberd at him, his countenance turned extremely unsightly to behold. Defeating and killing were two completely different concepts. The people here all had powerful trump cards. Unless the disparity in strength was too great, they wouldn't be able to kill their opponents. Before this, Lu Lan had the advantage when he fought against Qin Wentian, but he wasn't able to kill him. And now, Qin Wentian had comprehended a true intent despite being in a disadvantageous position, forcefully killing Dishur. This indicated that Qin Wentian, who had comprehended a true intent, was in an extremely dangerous situation. His life might be in danger. The countenances of those from the Violet Thunder sect were all extremely unsightly to behold. They had arranged for Lu Lan to enter because they wanted to eliminate Qin Wentian. Lu Lan, who was at the peak of Heavenly Dipper and had comprehended a true intent of lightning from their perspective, there was no doubt that he would be able to kill Qin Wentian. However, reality wasn't as they had imagined. Qin Wentian's extraordinary comprehension abilities allowed him to comprehend a true intent within the sacred battle platform. Although he was in a disadvantageous position, his combat prowess instantly surpassed Lu Lan's. "Come out." Qin Wentian pointed to Lu Lan as he spoke. Lu Lan was the same as Dishur. He had an agreement with Qin Wentian that only one of them could walk out alive. Initially, he wanted to restrict Qin Wentian's escape. But now he was trapped in a cocoon of his own making. Even if he admitted defeat, it was useless. Either he died or Qin Wentian died. "I've also comprehended a true intent. What's there to fear?" Lu Lan silently mused, as though he was encouraging himself, suppressing the terror in his heart due to Dishur's death. At his level, how could he bear to die? But Dishur, one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, had died before his eyes. This made him understand from the bottom of his heart that this was a true battle of death. How could Qin Wentian spare someone who wanted his life? Lu Lan, who was bathed in lightning, stepped out. However, he seemed to have lost some of his aura. He was no longer as wild and domineering as he was when he first fought against Qin Wentian. Evidently, he wasn't as confident in his own strength as before. The two of them stood facing each other. The air was filled with destructive lightning energy, but at the same time, there was also an intense pressure. The lightning energy was aimed at Qin Wentian, while the pressure was aimed at Lu Lan. It made him feel as if there was an omnipresent pressure pressing down on him, making him feel extremely uncomfortable. Releasing his astral souls at this moment, Lu Lan didn't dare to hold back any longer. The might of his lightning grew even stronger as he slashed out with a lightning sword in his hands. A bolt of lightning arced through the air, aiming for Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian had already moved the instant Lu Lan attacked. He could sense every single strand of energy in this space. When Lu Lan moved, he could also sense it. The ancient halberd pierced out. This strike was incomparably accurate, and when it whistled through the air, It contained a terrifying power that caused people's hearts to tremble. Pung! The tip of the ancient halberd directly collided with the lightning, causing it to disintegrate into dust. What a terrifying comprehension ability! Qin Wentian's usage of the true intent of his mandate has already surpassed Lu Lan. Many people understood in their hearts. Qin Wentian had just comprehended a true intent not too long ago, yet his comprehension of it had already surpassed Lu Lan. Other than talent, there was no other explanation. Golden wings appeared on Qin Wentian's back as he was clad in golden rock armor. With a flap of his wings, his entire person transformed into a beam of light, leaving behind only afterimages in the air. Qi! The ancient halberd pierced out, aiming straight for Lu Lan's head. Even before the halberd arrived, that incomparably terrifying energy had already descended, causing Lu Lan to feel a strange sensation. It was as though an inexhaustible amount of energy from the heavens and earth was concentrated at the tip of the ancient halberd. As long as he was struck by it, he would die without a doubt. Regardless of which part of his body was struck, that energy would be able to destroy all vitality in an instant. A raging wind whistled as Lu Lan retreated. The lightning around him frenziedly converged as a terrifying ball of lightning blasted towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered as the wings of the golden rock arced through the air in a beautiful arc, instantly changing directions. At the same time, a powerful pressure bore down on Lu Lan, affecting her speed. Die! Lu Lan roared in rage as he slashed out with his lightning sword. The speed of the lightning attack was extremely fast, and it contained a terrifying destructive might. Qin Wentian lifted his palms and executed the star-seizing palms. His left palm shone with a resplendent runic light as divine energy erupted forth, slamming into the lightning attack, causing it to explode apart in the air. Vizi! Yet another silhouette flashed past Lu Lan's eyes. Lu Lan unceasingly attacked, yet Qin Wentian would clash head-on with him every time. This repeated over and over again, giving Qin Wentian an immense sense of pressure. Qin Wentian chased after Lu Lan, frenziedly flashing about until the entire sky was covered in a golden shadow. Lu Lan is at too much of a disadvantage in this battle. Every single one of his attacks are all lightning-type attacks with terrifying destructive might, and the consumption of energy is extremely great. However, Qin Wentian's only reply is to use his ancient halberd to strike out. The majority of his attacks are focused on the true intents of his mandates, and the amount of astral energy he consumes is far inferior compared to Lu Lan. Not only that, Lu Lan's state of mind is already somewhat unstable. If this continues on, Lu Lan would surely be in deep trouble. Outside the sacred battle platform, the spectators murmured. At this moment, Lu Lan once again unleashed a destructive attack towards Qin Wentian. Just when he thought that Qin Wentian would retreat after a single strike, numerous afterimages of Qin Wentian appeared, each of them lifting their palms to destroy everything. At the same time, an ancient halberd appeared in Lu Lan's vision. Lu Lan's heart pounded violently. He abruptly clasped his palms together, directly grabbing hold of Qin Wentian's ancient halberd. The terrifying power of lightning caused his palms to be even sharper than blades. The lightning slashed apart the ancient halberd, directly breaking it into two. Courting death. Qin Wentian spat out. He directly put down the ancient halberd and blasted out with both his palms. In an instant, sword qi filled the skies, sweeping through everything. Numerous sword imprints containing terrifying destructive might penetrated through everything, shooting towards Lu Lan. At such a close distance, Lu Lan was undoubtedly relying on the destructive might of his true intent of lightning. He wasn't afraid of clashing head-on with Qin Wentian. Hence, at the instant he clasped his palms together, the destructive power of lightning and sword might frenziedly erupted forth, blasting towards Qin Wentian. But at the same time, Qin Wentian's palms blasted out countless sword imprints. Each and every sword imprint contained a terrifying destructive might, capable of annihilating everything. The crowd only saw beams of sword light flashing past as fresh blood flowed from Lu Lan's body. The 10,000 swords penetrated through his body. Lu Lan's floating body trembled as he stared at Qin Wentian with a venomous look in his eyes. He was a character at the peak of Heavenly Dipper, who had comprehended the true intent of his mandate, and had already broken through to celestial phenomenon. Yet today he actually died on the sacred battle platform. Where did those sword imprints come from? The spectators felt their hearts trembling. So many terrifying sword imprints had actually erupted forth at that instant. One could very well imagine how dangerous it was to be in close combat with Qin Wentian. Impossible. In the direction of the Divine Weapon Academy, Wang Yunfei's countenance turned pale white. Even those seniors from the Divine Weapon Academy were shocked. Those sword imprints were the same as what Qin Wentian had achieved back then in the Divine Weapon Academy. With just a single step, 4th-rank divine inscriptions could be seen. These sword imprints gave off a feeling that they were all 4th-rank divine inscriptions. This indicated that Qin Wentian's earlier attack had already erupted with hundreds and thousands of 4th-rank divine inscriptions. How terrifying was this? At such a close distance, how could Lu Lan not die? That's the second one. The spectators were all numb. The first one was killed by one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses, and the second one was Lu Lan, who had comprehended the true intent of his mandate. At this moment, the faces of those from the Violet Thunder sect were flushed red. When they saw the countless gazes directed at them, they felt as though they were sitting on pins and needles. This time around, not only did they lose Lu Lan, they had also lost all face. Why did Lu Lan want to kill Qin Wentian and even set up a life-and-death battle with Qin Wentian? Undoubtedly, the Violet Thunder sect was the mastermind behind all of this. But now that Lu Lan died in the hands of Qin Wentian, this was truly a slap to their face. Many people were already mocking the Violet Thunder sect. In Yi, they had lost Yi Kongfan and several celestial phenomenon ascendants. Now they even sought their own humiliation. Most probably, the name of the Violet Thunder sect as one of the 9 great sects would definitely become infamous. After Qin Wentian killed Lu Lan, he calmly returned to his stone platform and sat down. Out of the 9 era-suppressing geniuses, 2 had already been eliminated. Dishir had fallen and Dongyue Hanjiang had lost an arm. In addition to Lu Lan, 3 of them had already been eliminated. Only 6 remained. In truth, at this moment the crowd already understood. Although Li Tian and Qi Lian were also era-suppressing geniuses, if they couldn't comprehend a true intent of their mandates, it would be impossible for them to contend against Qin Wentian and Wu Teng. Even the Crown Prince of Radiant Gold was slightly weaker. No one knew if Fan Miaoyu was still concealing her true strength or not. However, very swiftly, the crowd saw that when Qi Lian challenged Fan Miaoyu, he was easily defeated by her. Fan Miaoyu revealed a type of true intent, the true intent of sound waves. From the start of the battle, Qi Lian had no way to retaliate. Fan Miaoyu's cultivation base was higher than his, and she had also comprehended a true intent of her mandates. Not only that, both of them were era-suppressing geniuses. After this battle, there were people who faintly felt that Fan Miaoyu was the strongest among the 9. Li Tian glanced at the 4 before him, feeling somewhat depressed as he spoke. There's no meaning for me to continue staying here. Wait until I comprehend a true intent of my mandates. If there's a chance, let's fight again. I admit defeat. The sacred battle platform opened, allowing Qi Lian and Li Tian to leave. Although the 2 of them were defeated, no one could deny their strength. As era-suppressing geniuses, the moment they comprehended a true intent of their mandates, they would instantly become extremely terrifying. In the blink of an eye, there were only 4 participants left on the sacred battle platform after all the battles yesterday. Qin Wentian, Wu Teng, Fan Miaoyu, and the Prince of Radiant Gold. Out of these 4, the strongest should be Fan Miaoyu, while the weakest should be the Prince of Radiant Gold, Qin Wentian and Wu Teng. It's hard to say. This was the opinion of the majority. Fan Miaoyu and Wu Teng were on the same level, and both of them had comprehended a true intent of their mandates. Fan Miaoyu had the highest possibility of being the strongest out of the 4. How about we spar? Wu Teng stared at Qin Wentian as he spoke. He was filled with admiration towards Qin Wentian. Before the opening of the immortal martial realm, Qin Wentian was a nameless nobody, yet in a short span of a few months, he had already risen to such heights in the royal sacred region. Such a character was truly worthy of respect. Hence, although he wanted to spar with Qin Wentian, he didn't have any ill intentions. I will fight you after I recover to my peak, Qin Wentian replied, as though he was expressing his respect towards Wu Teng. Fine. Your cultivation base is originally lower than mine. Let's spar after you recover to your peak. Wu Teng smiled. He didn't insist. Qin Wentian closed his eyes again. Chapter 628. The atmosphere on the sacred battle platform turned silent. In the end, the four of them weren't in a hurry to battle and chose to close their eyes in meditation. After a period of time, the Prince of Radiant Gold issued a challenge to Fan Miaoyu. The stone platform the two of them were on appeared in the center of the sacred battle platform. Resplendent golden light flickered and danced in the air. It was sharp and dazzling. These rays of golden light were like thin fragments of gold that gathered on his body, giving him a layer of armor. After that, they danced in front of his palm and a golden spear appeared. A terrifying sharpness permeated the air with him as the center. At this instant, this prince who was clad in golden armor seemed to be cast from pure gold. His defense was unrivaled, impossible to break through. Upon seeing how powerful he was, the crowd couldn't help but to doubt. Was he really the weakest among the four of them? The true intent of the mandate of metal, regardless of offense or defense, was extremely powerful. An ear-piercing sound directly rang out in the eardrums of the prince. The ears of the prince from the radiant gold ancient country were instantly covered by a layer of gold. Fan Miaoyu had comprehended the true intent of the mandate of sound. This was an extremely rare type of true intent. She could use sound waves to disturb the state of mind of others, and even use sound waves to kill. Fan Miaoyu quietly stood there. However, the crowd could see the brows of the Prince of Radiant Gold furrowed, as though he was feeling extremely uncomfortable. He had no way to close his six senses. How could he block the invading sound waves? That ear-piercing sound rang out unceasingly in his mind. This sound was extremely unpleasant to the ears and could drive people crazy. The sound waves were formless and formless, causing people to be unable to sense that Fan Miaoyu was already attacking. The Prince of Radiant Gold no longer had any other sounds in his ears. His state of heart grew increasingly restless as his senses grew weaker. Although he had closed his ears, he was still being affected by the sound waves. The only thing he could do now was to attack, or he would be driven crazy. It was unknown when Qin Wentian had opened his eyes, staring at this battle. The Crown Prince of the Radiant Gold ancient country unleashed his attack, as his golden spear pierced out. Instantly rows after rows of golden spears appeared, piercing towards Fan Miaoyu with unstoppable might. Fan Miaoyu finally stepped out. With a wave of her jade-like hands, numerous musical notes manifested in the air. Each and every one of the musical notes trembled as they blasted out, frenziedly slamming into the spear. Sounds of collision rang out unceasingly as the sound of collision rang out unceasingly. The spear was shattered into pieces. Fan Miaoyu flicked her palms forward. Instantly a formless sound wave gushed forth, forming a gigantic net that enveloped the Prince of Radiant Gold. A sharp light flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes. The power of sound waves was invisible and hard to capture. The indestructible golden spear in the hands of the Prince of Radiant Gold erupted forth. Although he managed to shatter several of the musical notes, the formless gigantic net was still able to envelop him. Bang bang bang. The body of the Prince of Radiant Gold was already completely enveloped by a layer of golden light. However, that golden shell of his was already riddled with holes. Although the power of Fan Miaoyu's musical notes couldn't be compared to physical attacks, it was still extremely terrifying. If it wasn't for the fact that the Prince of Radiant Gold had an extremely high defense, he would have already died in Fan Miaoyu's hands. Although the two of them hadn't unleashed their full strength yet, the ending of the battle was already foreseeable. When the Prince of Radiant Gold unleashed his overwhelming attacks, Fan Miaoyu actually continued to strengthen herself. Ultimately, the Prince of Radiant Gold could only choose to concede. After witnessing this battle, Qin Wentian was thinking, if he was the one fighting against Fan Miaoyu, what would the situation be like? Fan Miaoyu's control over the true intent of sound waves didn't lose out to his true intent of force. If the two of them fought, his chances of victory would be extremely slim. There was a high possibility that he would be defeated. With the Prince of Radiant Gold eliminated, there were only 3 participants left on the sacred battle platform: Qin Wentian, Wu Teng and Fan Miaoyu. Wu Teng. Qin Wentian suddenly spoke. Wu Teng turned his gaze onto him as both of them stood up. I really want to see if my true intent of axe is stronger or if your true intent of force is stronger. Wu-Tang spoke to Qin Wentian. In that case, let's fight using our true intents first. Qin Wentian replied as an ancient halberd appeared in his hands. Right? Wu-Tang took out an axe as the two of them walked towards each other. All of a sudden, both of them attacked at the same time. Wu-Tang's axe chopped down. It was as ordinary as ever, but the aura it exuded was as though he was chopping down a tree, easily cleaving it apart. Qin Wentian's ancient halberd directly collided with the axe. In that instant, Qin Wentian felt a surge of energy directly penetrating through his ancient halberd and into his body, cleaving him into two. In just an instant, Qin Wentian loosened his grip on the ancient halberd. With a cracking sound, the ancient halberd split into two neatly from the middle. The cut was extremely smooth, as though it was really cleaved apart by an axe. Naturally, when Qin Wentian's ancient halberd broke apart, Wu-Tang's axe also directly split apart. At the instant of collision, Wu-Tang felt an all-pervasive force seeping into every single particle of the axe in his hands, wanting to seep into his body. If he didn't loosen his grip, his entire body would have been destroyed by this force. Although the two of them clashed in a simple manner, only they knew how dangerous it was. Awesome! Wu-Tang was truly impressed by Qin Wentian. It hadn't been long since he comprehended his true intent, yet he was already able to reach such a level. Again, Wu-Tang laughed. This time around he condensed his astral energy into an axe as the two of them rushed towards each other, clashing against each other using the true intent of their respective mandates. True intent of mandates, truth, control. Qin Wentian didn't stop comprehending even as he fought. Ultimately, neither of them could do anything to the other. Let's stop our battle first. Wait for me to experience the true intent of sound waves. Wu-Tang seemed to be in high spirits as he prepared for his next battle against Fan Miaoyu. Qin Wentian nodded his head. After which, he retreated back to the stone platform and closed his eyes once again, silently contemplating. The situation on the sacred battle platform caused the spectators outside to be speechless. Right now the atmosphere inside wasn't as tense as before. This Wu-Tang seemed more like a martial fanatic, wanting to test out different types of true intent instead of trying to prove himself. In this aspect he was somewhat similar to Qin Wentian. However, after that, when Wu-Tang and Fan Miaoyu sparred, Wu-Tang was affected by the true intent of sound waves. He felt extremely stifled, and the two of them no longer restricted themselves to a battle of true intents. Instead, they erupted into an all-out battle, causing the spectators to be filled with excitement. This battle was a battle between the strongest two. Fan Miaoyu's strength was so strong that it was terrifying, while Wu-Tang had once again surpassed the imaginations of the spectators. Other than his mandate of mandates, he had also infused his true intent into his innate techniques, allowing him to unleash a terrifying might. The two of them fought for an entire hour, and the battle was still ongoing. How powerful! The spectators were all stunned. At this moment, Wu-Tang seemed to have transformed into an ancient war god. His axe techniques were so powerful that they could split the heavens and earth apart. Not only that, the shadow of a war god could also be seen, augmenting his combat prowess. Too powerful. Did Wu-Tang manage to suppress Fan Miaoyu? The eyes of the spectators flickered with excitement. They finally understood why Wu-Tang only used his true intent to fight against Qin Wentian, and didn't use his full strength against Qin Wentian. Wu-Tang didn't want to bully Qin Wentian because his cultivation base was lower than his. If Wu-Tang truly erupted with his full strength, Qin Wentian wouldn't be able to block him at all. Wu-Tang is actually the #1 ranker of the sacred battle platform this time around? How shocking! Although Wu-Tang is powerful, his fame in the past was far from being comparable to the era-suppressing geniuses. Wu-Tang sent Fan Miaoyu flying through the air, causing the hearts of the spectators to pound wildly. You are very strong, but you are still a little lacking. Just admit defeat. Wu-Tang stared at Fan Miaoyu as he spoke. Wu-Tang of the war country, the people of the royal sacred region have all underestimated you. But today you will still lose for sure. Fan Miaoyu's voice was calm. Wu-Tang stared at her with some bewilderment in his eyes, after which he felt another terrifying surge of energy gushing towards him. Wu-Tang carefully sensed it, and after that he was completely dumbfounded. However, Wu Tong wasn't an ordinary person. He quickly regained his composure and bitterly smiled. Since you've already comprehended 2 types of true intent, it's not an injustice for me to lose this battle. I admit defeat. Wu Tong, you are a late bloomer, yet you have already utilized all sorts of different types of energy to the pinnacle. With such a steady foundation, when you step into the celestial phenomenon realm in the future, you would definitely be an extraordinary one. Fan Miaoyu felt a sense of sympathy towards Wu Tong. Do you know of Wu Mu? Wu Tong stared at Fan Miaoyu as he laughed. If it wasn't for Senior Wu Mu's guidance, although I myself am already very strong, I still wouldn't be able to defeat you if I wanted to use the same type of true intent. After speaking, Wu Tong calmly left the sacred battle platform. He had been accumulating strength for many years, and after receiving the guidance of the Realm Lord of the Immortal Martial Realm, it was only because of this that he erupted and became famous throughout the sacred battle platform. Although he was defeated, everyone here understood that Wu Tong's name would soon be known by many. Being able to suppress Fan Miaoyu while using the same type of true intent, there was no need to mention how strong he was. The strongest is still Fan Miaoyu after all. She has actually comprehended 2 types of true intent. The hearts of the spectators sighed. This battle on the sacred battle platform was finally coming to an end. Fan Miaoyu was indeed worthy of being one of the 8 era-suppressing geniuses. Fan Miaoyu stared at the last person on the sacred battle platform, the person she admired the most. Back then in the immortal martial realm when he defeated her, this person had once told her that the era was changing, causing her to sigh with the feeling that a heaven's chosen would eventually be replaced by someone else. Qin Wentian seemed to have sensed Fan Miaoyu's gaze. He opened his eyes and smiled at her. Although the era is changing, I don't wish to be abandoned so early. At the very least, if you want to use me as a stepping stone to rise up, I'm afraid it won't be so fast. You should be proud of your battle achievements on the sacred battle platform. Fan Miaoyu stared at Qin Wentian as she continued. But today, this place still belongs to me. Qin Wentian stared at Fan Miaoyu as a smile appeared on his face. He then emotionlessly replied, I'm afraid I have to disappoint you. Chapter 629. Qin Wentian's calm voice caused Fan Miaoyu to start. She stared at him in bewilderment, only to see that Qin Wentian's countenance was as calm as still water, with a faint smile on his face. You comprehended another true intent? Fan Miaoyu exclaimed in shock. In such a short period of time, Qin Wentian had already comprehended 2 true intents? Fan Miaoyu didn't dare to believe this. If it was only a single true intent, it might have been a sudden epiphany. Such a situation was common for many heavens chosen, including herself. She had only comprehended a second true intent in a single moment of enlightenment. But to consecutively comprehend 2 true intents, this was simply too shocking. Not only that, even if Qin Wentian had truly comprehended 2 true intents, he would only be at the same level as her. As for her cultivation base, she was at the peak of Heavenly Dipper and was definitely much stronger compared to Dishur, Lulan and the others. Qin Wentian's calm voice was filled with confidence. What did he rely on exactly? Qin Wentian didn't reply, indicating that he had already tacitly agreed. Fan Miaoyu suppressed her shock as she stared at Qin Wentian. Even if you have comprehended 2 true intents, I'm the same. If you want to defeat me here, I'm afraid you won't be able to do so. Let's give it a try. Qin Wentian spoke to Fan Miaoyu. Okay, be careful. Fan Miaoyu nodded. A heavy expression could be seen on her beautiful face. As the sound of her voice faded, a mist permeated the air, swiftly enveloping the entire sacred battle platform. Qin Wentian's vision was obstructed. He actually couldn't see Fan Miaoyu who was standing in front of him. True intent of water? Qin Wentian's perception gushed out, but at this moment, an ear-piercing screech rang out, causing his heart to tremble violently. He wanted to seal his ears, but the formless sound waves directly penetrated into his sea of consciousness. When sound reached another level, its ability to interfere with people was extremely strong. If an ordinary person heard this kind of sound wave, they would instantly lose their composure and roll on the ground, unable to bear it at all. Even Qin Wentian's perception was directly restricted. At this moment he felt extremely annoyed. What was even more frightening was that at this moment he was like a blind man. He couldn't see, he couldn't hear, and his senses were obstructed. He had become completely blind. No wonder Wu Tung admitted defeat. Qin Wentian thought to himself, if it was just two true intents, Wu Tung might have a fight. However, the combination of two true intents was enough to make Wu Tung despair. There was no need for a fight at all. Power. Qin Wentian was still controlling a strand of his perception to sense the existence of the true intent. At the same time he unleashed his true intent. Numerous sound wave runes shot towards him. Qin Wentian slammed out with his palms, directly tearing them apart. Terrifying ice spears rained down like a waterfall. Qin Wentian brandished the ancient halberd in his hands, exuding a terrifying demonic aura. With a lift of his hands, he blasted out with rage, shattering the ice waterfall into pieces. Fan Miaoyu, who was outside, had an expression of shock on her face. Her true intent of sound had no way to completely block off Qin Wentian's perception. Just by relying on his control over the true intent of force, he could still sense where the attacks were coming from. In fact, he could even judge how strong the attacks were. However, a confident smile could still be seen in Fan Miaoyu's eyes. She was extremely confident in her own strength. In such a situation, even if Qin Wentian's perception wasn't completely cut off, he would still be like a blind man. She was already in an invincible position. Qin Wentian was able to block her attacks, but what if she used her true intent innate techniques to attack him in close combat? How long could Qin Wentian last? As she thought of this, Fan Miaoyu's silhouette flickered as she rushed into the mist. Qin Wentian was blind, but she wasn't. She could sense everything happening within. The runic light in her palms towered up into the sky as Fan Miaoyu instantly rushed into the mist. An ice-cold intent permeated the entire space, causing people to involuntarily shiver. She saw that even Qin Wentian's body seemed to be sealed in ice. The runic light in her palms abruptly transformed into an ice-long spear, explosively stabbing out. A terrifying rumbling sound rang out in front of her, as though a glacier had exploded. Pong! Qin Wentian's body seemed to have been directly struck. The ice-long spear stabbed into Qin Wentian's body as fresh blood flowed out. Qin Wentian stared at her with a venomous gaze. This scene caused Fan Miaoyu to start. Qin Wentian was killed by her so easily? This is impossible. Even Fan Miaoyu herself didn't believe this was real. She didn't have any killing intent towards Qin Wentian. Although she was somewhat jealous of his talent, it wasn't to the extent where she would want Qin Wentian to die just because of jealousy. However, the scene in front of her was so clear. Qin Wentian had truly died. True intent of dreams. Fan Miaoyu's countenance changed as she instantly retreated. However, she soon discovered that behind her, there were two other Qin Wentian silhouettes that were staring at her like a tiger eyeing its prey. With a wave of his palms, the sound waves blasted out. The two silhouettes were killed as fresh blood flowed out. However, this scene seemed to be real. Dream. Fan Miaoyu's countenance turned unsightly. She had never imagined what the true intent of dreams was like. But today she experienced it for herself. Maybe as long as Qin Wentian retracted the true intent of dreams, everything would instantly return to normal. Those Qin Wentian silhouettes that were killed by Qin Wentian would no longer exist. She fell into a dream created by Qin Wentian for her. A dream that was embedded into reality. Fan Miaoyu unceasingly retreated. More and more silhouettes of Qin Wentian appeared, but they were all killed by her. After she retreated for a very long distance, she discovered that those dead Qin Wentian silhouettes were all moving towards her. This scene caused Fan Miaoyu to be stunned. The true intent of dreams. In this dream, Qin Wentian was the ruler of this dreamscape. Unless she could shatter the dream of Qin Wentian, she could only fall into this dream. An expression of struggle flashed in her eyes. Fan Miaoyu then spoke, "You win." As the sound of her voice faded, the silhouettes of Qin Wentian silhouettes instantly vanished. At this moment, Fan Miaoyu discovered that even though she had retreated so far, she hadn't moved at all. She was at the position where she stepped into the mist. This indicated that from this point onwards, she had already fallen into the dreamscape. Fan Miaoyu's entire body was drenched in cold sweat. She only felt a cold wind blowing over her body. Could the true intent of dreams forcefully change the consciousness of others? She thought that she was moving, and that she was in Qin Wentian's dream. But to her astonishment, she discovered that this was also her dream. All the energy dissipated, and Qin Wentian's silhouette appeared. Only now did Fan Miaoyu understand where Qin Wentian's confidence came from. The rarely seen true intent of dreams actually had such terrifying control. Fan Miaoyu finally understood why she couldn't struggle free. It was because she herself didn't know what state she was in. She still thought that she was moving, so how could she struggle free? Unless someone attacked her and triggered her nerves, only then would she be able to sense it and struggle free from the true intent of dreams. I've lost. You are right, the times are changing. You are already part of a brand new era. I hope you can continue growing until you become a legend. Fan Miaoyu swiftly recovered from her defeat, as she smiled at Qin Wentian. You are also very strong. If I had comprehended other true intents, it would be extremely difficult to defeat you. Qin Wentian seriously spoke. Fan Miaoyu's true intent was able to disrupt the vision and perception of others, causing them to become blind. The two of them spoke like they were friends, yet great waves of shock rocked the hearts of the spectators. Qin Wentian actually won, becoming the sole victor today. Even a powerful existence like Wu Teng had to admit defeat before Fan Miaoyu. Yet Qin Wentian actually made Fan Miaoyu concede. As one of the era-suppressing geniuses, Fan Miaoyu had a cultivation base at the 9th level of Heavenly Dipper, and had comprehended 2 types of true intents. Even someone like her couldn't defeat Qin Wentian. There were simply too few people at the Heavenly Dipper realm who could defeat Qin Wentian. You don't have to be humble. You are only at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper. It's hard to imagine how terrifying you would be when you step into the 9th level. You who have comprehended 4 types of true intents in addition to your powerful innate techniques, as well as various other techniques, I believe that you would even be able to fight against celestial phenomenon ascendants jumping levels to do battle. As Fan Miaoyu spoke, the screen of light on the sacred battle platform opened. The two of them exchanged glances and smiled as they stepped out. I've lost. Maybe he is still some distance away from being unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper in the Royal Sacred Region, but I believe that he will definitely reach that level. Fan Miaoyu smiled as she spoke to the spectators. There could only be one true unrivaled in Heavenly Dipper in the Royal Sacred Region. If the current Qin Wentian was able to obtain it, it would be impossible for Fan Miaoyu to do so. There were still other true intents that had comprehended 4 types of true intents. For such characters, the current Qin Wentian might not be able to defeat them, but he would definitely be able to do so in the future. After speaking, Fan Miaoyu walked out of the sacred battle platform. The gazes of the others were all focused on Qin Wentian. Who would have thought that Qin Wentian with a cultivation base at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper would be able to last until the very end in this battle? Just like what Fan Miaoyu had said, the era was changing. Staring at that magnificent silhouette, there were many who were anticipating his future. There were some who were filled with anticipation. There were also those who were filled with hatred, wanting nothing more than for Qin Wentian to die. For example, those from the Granshang faction, the Supreme D clan, the Violet Thunder sect, all of them hoped that Qin Wentian would die on the sacred battle platform. However, all of them died in the end. Not only did Qin Wentian not die, he grew even stronger, even more dazzling than before. Qin Wentian, another supreme character, has appeared in the Battle Sword sect. The hearts of the crowd mused. During these recent years, Lin Shuai's name shook the world, followed by Lin Shuai and Ji Feixue. And now there was another Qin Wentian. How terrifying was this sect? At this moment, a surge of aura drifted over. After which, the crowd only saw a silhouette walking over from the air above their heads. This person was incomparably imposing. His eyes were like lightning, and his entire body exuded a powerful aura. His gaze swept over the crowd. His sword-like eyes seemed to be able to penetrate the hearts of others. He glanced at Qin Wentian before speaking. Those from the 9 great sects, gather the strongest Heavenly Dipper sovereigns and head to the Royal Sacred Sect 3 days from now. In addition, those from the other powers in the Royal Sacred Region, feel free to select their most outstanding disciples and follow me to the Royal Sacred Sect. The tone of this person when speaking to the 9 great sects had a hint of command in it. As for the other sects, he allowed them to choose freely. After all, the 9 great sects were directly subordinate to the Royal Sacred Sect. But even so, The identity of this person was sufficient to cause the hearts of the crowd to tremble.